Public hearing for the Community Board 1, Brooklyn Community Board 1, and it's for March 14th, 2023. So Joanna, can we have a roll call, please?
Gina Argento,
Here.
Bonin Bakarowski,
Here.
Lisa Bamonte, Gina Barrows,
Here.
Eric Brusitis, Iris Cabrera.
Yes, Sonia.
Thank you. Phil Caponegro,
Here.
Frank Cavone,
Here.
Steve Chesler,
Here.
Michael Chinchilla.
Yeah.
Teresa Sincata, Stephanie Cuevas, Ron Daly, Giovanni D'Amato.
Here.
Excuse me, I just got a text from Roland. He can't unmute himself, but he's here.
Haley.
Yeah.
Aaron Drinkwater,
Here.
Arthur Dibonowski,
Here.
Lloyd Fang,
Here.
Julia Amanda Foster, Julia Amanda Foster, Alice Fuller, Crystal Garcia, Joe Goldstein,
Ron is here. He's unable to get on the speaker.
okay,
Thank you.
Joe Goldstein, Joe Gross, David Helmick,
Here.
Sabrina Help, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Here.
you, Sonia Iglesias here, Moses Ending, Robert Jeffrey,
Here.
Monsina Kaminsky,
Here.
Corey Canton,
Here.
Paul Kilterborn,
I'm here.
thank you, William Klasbold, William, Yolando, Marie Lieza,
Here.
thank you, Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Here.
Adam Myers,
Here.
Sante Michelli,
Here.
Toby Moskowitz, Rabbi David Niederman, Kevin Nieves, Mary Adamarick,
I'm here.
thank you, Janice Peterson,
Here.
hi, Bella Sables,
Here.
Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Here.
William Vega,
Here.
Maria Viera, Simon Weiser,
Here. You hear me, Simon?
Yep, we hear you. We hear you,
I
Simon.
was I was trying to sign in before. I had a problem. I don't know why it doesn't. She just opened me. I could have started giving the okay for the vote for the roll call.
Now, full
I
is
can
here,
defer to
Sonia.
you now, Simon.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
full is here, Sonia.
Oh, great.
Madam Chair. So 6:17, 31 members answer the call, Madam Chair.
Sonia, Lisa is trying to get on, so she just called me.
Who?
Lisa Bermonti, she on yet?
Okay. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm sorry I was having some difficulty. Thank you, Del. Thank you, Sonia.
Oh, you're
Okay.
welcome.
The first item on the
Welcome.
agenda. Sorry. First item on the agenda is New York Department of Design and Construction. John Hennessy Group. Is anybody here to present on that item?
You have John McClick here from Cisco Hennessy Group.
You may begin.
All right, it looks like I'm being grayed out of sharing the presentation. Hold on, now it's clicked in. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for having me this evening. My name is John Micklick. I'm an associate partner at Cisco Hennessy Group. We specialize in the engineering of building systems throughout New York City and across the rest of the country. And on behalf of DDC and Brooklyn Public Library, we are pleased to present you today the plans for the HVAC and roofing upgrade of the Bushwick Branch Library at 340 Bushwick Avenue. So in general, the library was constructed in 1903. It is one of the Carnegie endowed libraries. We are going to do some exterior work, replacing the existing roofing and improving the insulation there. We're also going to replacing the HVAC equipment that has reached the end of its serviceable life to improve both the comfort and the ventilation within the library. Also, as part of the roofing project, we will be increasing the drainage capacity on the roof drains and making those spaces more accessible so that they can be better maintained. Interiorly, we are going to be redistributing some of the airflow so that it better serves the occupancies and replacing some of the interior HVAC units as well. In general, we don't expect to change much of the look and feel of the inside of the space. So design's been ongoing. We anticipate finishing the design on this project in the summer of this year, with a construction start anticipated for the spring of 2024 and completion of the work in the fall of 2025. So here for reference and relation to the rest of the city, this is where the Bushwick Branch Library is located. And if we zoom in a little bit more, you can see here that the library is on Bushwick Avenue. It's bounded by Siegel and Moore Street and Humboldt as well. This is the front facade of the Bushwick Branch Library from Bushwick Avenue. We will be replacing the roof that you see right now covered with the tarp, so that will prevent the leakage issues that are going on there. And the highlighted area is where we're proposing to install a new mechanical bulkhead that will allow for us to bring in more fresh air to the library and allow for reduced energy usage when the outside air conditions will permit airflow from outside without the use of mechanical cooling. As part of the project, we will also be doing some repair work to the bricks and the parapets to restore some of that existing architecture. Here is a view on the Siegel Street where you can see that there's been some minor repair work done over the years. We're going to complete that work. This is the view from the rear of the parking lot area of the building. Again, continue into that area as well. Here is the back of the library where there's an existing porch that houses the existing mechanical equipment for the upper spaces. We'll be repairing the steel structure for that porch and replacing the HVAC units that are located up there. This is the side from Moore Street again, where we're showing the proposed location of one of the new mechanical bulkheads that will allow for exhaust air to be released from the library. And this is the front where we'll be bringing in the additional fresh air for the library. We intend to cover this area for the mechanical bulkhead with new shrubbery so that it will not be an obvious addition to the structure of the library. It will be on the outside. The existing fence will remain, and the front of the bulkhead will be planted with shrubbery, including skip laurel and emerald green arbora vitae. Here's another view of that area from the corner of Seagull and Bushwick Avenue. As you can see right now, the existing trees and shrubbery that is there cover that area and won't make a significant change to the overall look of the building from the street side. Here we have the facade of a rendering of the facade of the library, showing the architectural work that will be done to repair the roof, repair the existing terracotta coping, and replace where needed, and repoint of the existing brickwork. This rendering here shows the locations of the new mechanical bulkheads, which will be used to improve the energy efficiency and increase the ventilation for the library. And we're also showing up on the top of the roof in a new roof hatch with a guardrail that will allow maintenance workers to easily get up there and clear the roof of any debris, leaves, or anything like that, so that flooding issues or storm drainage issues from the will not impact the building. This is a zoomed in rendering of what the shrubbery behind the fence and in between the mechanical bulkheads will look like. Here you have the arbora vitae in front of the bulkhead that will cover up most of that view, and then some of the skip laurel along the edges there. These are pretty much the key design features of the Bushwick Public Library HVAC and roof replacement. And we anticipate this will make the library a much more comfortable and energy efficient hub for the community. Thank you.
John, are there any questions?
I have a question, Madam Chair. This is Del Teague. Will this be referred to the Land Use Committee?
John, are you still there?
It will be submitted to Public Design Commission for review, if that's what you mean.
No, do you have to come before the Land Use Committee?
Well,
Do you need a vote from the community board approving this?
yes.
So will you be then appearing before the Land Use Committee on April 3rd?
I'll have to look into that.
Okay, because I don't know how we would have a vote unless you come before one of our committees. It looks to me like this is a land use item.
Hi, everyone. My name's Jacqueline Abel. I'm from the Brooklyn Public Libraries. We don't need to go before the Land Use Committee. This is strictly for the Public Design Commission. And for that review process, we just need a letter of resolution from the Community Board 1, acknowledging that we've presented and that you're accepting of the proposed design for the Public Design Commission. So we would potentially need that letter by the end of the month, March 31st. So then we can then submit to and present to the Public Design Commission in April, which that date falls on, I believe, April 24th.
Well, that means that this does not give the community board time to have you appear before the land use committee. So it seems to me, Madam Chair, that we would need to have a vote tonight. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
you can bring it up during your report, Dell.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Thank you so
Madam
much.
Chair, I raised
Yes.
my hand. So therefore, it will require a vote later on this evening?
Yes, we're gonna vote on it later on because you're gonna need the letter by the end of before the end of the month.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question. Is Trina, will the library be closed during construction? And for how long? If it is closed?
Yes,
Have any
the
idea how
library-
long it'll be closed?
Yes, the library will be closed during this time during construction, and it's approximately 18 months.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, but I was wondering, I mean, do we normally vote like this? We see an application, do we know there is a community there, has any impact? I don't know, it's going to be close for 18 months. I mean, we just seen that now, or I don't know, did this happen before when a library has to go through this type of work? They present, we just vote overnight? I don't know.
She just said that
curious.
she just said they need to show a letter that they presented to the community board. They don't need a vote from us. They just need a letter that they did come to us and show the presentation. Correct, Isabel? Abel, Jacqueline?
Yes, that's correct.
Vega?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just that, you know, I'm not comfortable when we're not given any time to review any documents. And Leonard branch is shut down currently, so we're going to have 2 libraries shut down in the same neighborhood, you know. And I'm comfortable that we have 2 libraries that our community uses, and it's essential for community democracy and education that they shut down at the same time. That's all my thoughts. Thank you.
Also, Madam Chair, additional thought on that. If they just, they presented, so they don't need our letter with a vote, if that's, their presentation is what is required. But voting with our approval, just to tap in what William was saying, and what I was saying before, I don't know, make me feel uncomfortable a little bit, you know, that's all.
Well, we were told they didn't need our vote, Sante. They just need a letter that said they presented to the board, and they presented to the board.
Hi, I'm here.
Madam Chair, I thought she said she needed a letter and that we approved their plans. Could she repeat that, you know, the librarian rep, repeat that?
I heard that she needed a letter that she presented to the board, a presentation. Isabel, Jacqueline, would you,
Yes, so
explain that
we
to the
just
board
need a
again?
letter. We need a letter from the community board to present that we've presented and that you've acknowledged this presentation for the design, for the Public Design Commission. So we are presenting to them next month, and this is one of the requirements that we need prior to that. So it's just a letter. We do not need a vote on this.
Is everybody clear now? Is everybody clear on this?
Hi, everybody. I apologize for joining late. I was having some issues with my computer. This is Anna Killian. I'm with DDC, the Office of Outreach and Notification. We are requesting a letter in order to send to the PDC that you guys approve of the actual design. If you have questions related to when are we going to start, how long is it going to take, and if you're opposing it, you could put that in the letter as well.
So this is Del Teague. I'm the head of land use committee. This, I believe that this came up once before with a different library, and I believe that we asked that we be given notice in time for us to be able to schedule you to appear before the land use committee. Be that as it may, you're asking for a letter of support when you have not gone through the normal course of appearing before a committee and giving the committee the ability to ask all the questions and have a discourse with you and then go back to the full board. Now, I just think it's not right. I mean, we have a long committee meeting, public hearing tonight, full board meeting, and this is not the time to just bring something on us like this. So I'm going to ask you to ask for an extension of time so you can appear at the April 3rd committee meeting, and then we can bring it back to the full board for a vote on the letter. We don't just, letters that give consent or approval are an official item here. This is not just just give us a letter that confirms that you appeared before us. That's not what you're asking for. You're asking for a letter
Right.
approving the application.
Yes, that's what we're asking for. So would you
Okay,
be
and that
able-
wasn't said in the first statement. It was said that.
Okay,
because
I
you
apologize for
had a
that.
say
I
that
jumped
you
down
were
late. I had
going to
issues.
present it to the
Will
board.
we be able to present in April to the land use committee?
Yes, of course. On April 3rd, you could come and present, and then we would vote, and then we would bring it back with our recommendation to the full board.
Okay, we did share this presentation ahead of this meeting in hopes that we had these questions beforehand, but I would love and appreciate if you guys could add us to the meeting, and I'll talk with my team and bring this back to DDC. Thank you.
Fine, so we'll see you on April 3rd.
Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Thank you for the
Thank you.
clarification.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you so much for your presentation, and look to hear from you at the April 3rd meeting. Senator Gonzalez, Christina would like to speak now. Senator?
So sorry, the senator actually will be joining in just a moment. She's just been held up a little bit, but I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is DOT. BQE quarter.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I see the council members here. Should I start or should we wait for the senator? I don't know if she's coming on in 2 seconds. I can hold on.
Well, we can start. Maybe she come on. We can if you're gonna do questions, we can put out the questions and call her. But we're already running late, Lacey.
All right. Well, I will get started.
Yeah.
It's good to see you all. I miss my CB1 days greatly. I'm here today to talk a little bit about the BQE corridor vision that DOT is undertaking, and this is just for general awareness, so everyone knows that we have some workshops coming up, and just want to make sure you're in the loop. Could I get permission to share my screen, please? Alrighty. So we're going to talk a little bit about just the administration's approach to the BQE. I'm sure everyone, has heard bits and pieces of this. I know there are some folks on the community board that have been really actively participating in our BQE work, so we're really grateful for that. When the mayor took office, we were asked to kind of reevaluate the status quo BQE plan, and it was decided that we would work to take action as necessary to make sure that the city-owned section of the BQE remains safe and, really get to work now. And the other element of this is equity, and that's where you come in. So there is a city-owned section of the BQE between Atlantic Avenue and Sand Street that the conversation has historically focused on. We're working to make sure we're investing in all communities along the BQE in Brooklyn, not just in that city-owned section. The other element of this is the once-in-a-generation federal funding opportunities that are available now. So we're going to be working to pursue federal grants for a fix for the city-owned portion of the BQE, as well as projects all along the corridor. And this is all going to be supported by robust stakeholder involvement. As I said, many folks on this call have been already participating in our BQE work, and will continue as the process progresses. Just a little bit of an overview of the BQE jurisdictional map. So the city owns the BQE between Atlantic Avenue and Sand Street. That includes the triple cantilever and some additional bridges and structures just to the north of that. And then the state owns the rest of the BQE in Brooklyn. And to just get a little more granular, the BQE, the state-owned portions of the BQE are made up of various trenches and viaducts that we're all familiar with, like at Meeker Avenue. So we see a lot of those structures replicated along the corridor, and these are the kinds of configurations that we're going to work to make improvements to through this process. Just a little bit about the city-owned section of the BQE. It was built between 1937 and 1964. It is a heavily trafficked freight corridor, very important for lots of the industry that underpins the city and keeps us all going and gets us our toothbrushes in 24 hours. So it is a really critical corridor for moving people and goods. And in BQE Central, I know you're all familiar with this structure. This is, a really complicated, unique structure that will be a feat of engineering to repair. And then, as I mentioned, these are the kinds of typologies you see in the state-owned section of the BQE. So we see, for example, the viaducts and trenches in Williamsburg. We know that the viaducts and trenches have cut through communities and restricted access to recreation and healthcare, and have led to safety concerns and noise and air pollution. So those are some of the issues that we're going to focus on as we do, community outreach in neighborhoods along the corridor. And of course, we'll be prioritizing elements of sustainable and resilient design, working to utilize our waterfront to have prefabricated materials, and working on, sustainable materials and design strategies and project delivery that help to get to a more environmentally friendly and sustainable solution. And so the strategy that we're undertaking here for BQE Central, the city-owned portion, is to move forward on a long-term fix now, prepare for an environmental review process, and capitalize on federal funding opportunities. In BQE North and South, we had our first round of workshops in the fall. Our second round of workshops are coming up in the next 2 weeks, which I'll talk about in a few. But we're looking for shorter-term improvements that can be implemented immediately in-house at DOT, while also developing proposals that might be capitally focused or might require state involvement that we can look to the future to implement. And then, freight is, as I mentioned, this is a key freight corridor. One of the main facets of this work, led by City Hall, is an effort to reimagine freight and make sure we're making it as clean and green as possible without, failing to get the goods and services we need that already utilize this corridor. And the BQE conversation has historically focused on the neighborhoods immediately surrounding the BQE Central part of the corridor. And we, wanted to broaden the conversation to consider transportation and environmental justice advocates, stakeholders who not only live adjacent to BQE Central, but who use it, industry groups, freight groups, all kinds of stakeholders for whom the BQE is a really critical corridor. And so we have been using a multi-pronged outreach approach through public workshops, in person and virtual, with translation in 7 languages. We've established a community visioning council, which I'll talk about. We did it we conducted a survey. We held some working group meetings with various experts to, discuss the BQE. And we have a community partners program where through our consultant, community-based organizations are receiving funding to do outreach in their communities. The Community Visioning Council is made up of several stakeholder groups. They act as ambassadors from their communities to DOT to advise on engagement and support communication between DOT and their own constituencies. They help to, shape our message so we can make sure we're presenting information in the right way. They're advisors, they're not final decision makers, but they've been really helpful in, shaping the outreach we've been doing. And the community partners are 18 community-based organizations that are receiving $25,000 each to do outreach into communities, in their preferred venue, in their preferred language. We selected groups that really know how to reach particular constituencies, that have done community organizing before, that have, experience working in communities where English isn't the primary language. And this isn't really something DOT has done before. So we're really excited. Most of the groups just got through their first round of engagement, and we're looking forward to their continued work to help bring people into this process and get more feedback. So these are the groups that are receiving this funding that we've been working with, and we're really excited about how this further enhances the engagement we can do. And so just a little bit more on the community partners. They have expertise in 23 languages and dialects. We're reaching a lot more folks who we wouldn't otherwise reach through normal DOT engagement. And they're doing tens of activities, all kinds of different formats and forums, tabling, pop-ups, workshops, surveys, open houses, walk and talks. So you should look out for events through the community partners that are in this neck of the woods. And I'll just call out the ones that are working in North Brooklyn. Transportation Alternatives is doing the full corridor, but we have UJO, North Brooklyn Parks Alliance, we have St. Nick's. So lots of organizations that we all know and love, and Evergreen and El Puente. So North Brooklyn is well represented, and I believe Swinging 60s had an event recently, so there are lots of opportunities to get involved. And so just a little bit background on the timeline that we're working with, because we have a couple of parallel processes. So BQE Central, which is that city-owned portion, we have some interim repairs coming up. We just finished our third round of workshops for the long-term project in that location. We're going to continue to do some engagement around that work. We'll be starting environmental review as early as this fall. We'll continue to make repairs as needed as they arise. And then we're looking to start construction on a project in 2027. So there's still lots of time to engage on that piece of it. For BQE North and South, we are looking to start implementing some in-house projects as early as this year. We have our second round of workshops coming in the next couple of weeks for BQE North. We have an in-person workshop on March 23rd. I can make sure to share with the board the location and login details for the virtual. The virtual one will be on the 27th. So we would love if folks could come out and participate in those and make sure to, give some feedback on what we're thinking. And then on the city's efforts on freight, we'll be continuing to work in conjunction with sister agencies and City Hall to build upon the existing work we're doing to enhance the freight experience and enhance freight mobility, and continue building upon that work in the years ahead. And all of the information you need is available at nyc.gov/BQE. It's a really good site. It has all of our meeting materials. It has our lists of community visioning council members and community partners. We've also uploaded some videos that explain some key concepts. We know this is a lot of information and takes a while to wrap your head around. And again, these are the upcoming dates for our meetings. And I'm happy to share this presentation with the board so everyone has it. And that's it.
Thank you, Danielle. Is the senator on yet?
She should have just signed on.
Okay, well, we'll let her speak and then we'll go to questions.
She's just not able to unmute herself. I'm not sure if she needs to be promoted.
Oh, there we go. I think I was just promoted to panelist. So I am. Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Can everyone here? And fantastic. Thank you all so much. Sorry I'm late tonight. As you all know, it's been a very long week up in Albany, even though it's only Tuesday. I'm currently also stuck in a snow day because we had a significant amount of snow, and so we're all working from the hotel right now. So also apologize for the internet connection because we've been dealing with that all day. But I did want to hop on and give everyone some quick updates on the work that we've been doing. Obviously, budget came out today, our one house, so the Senate's version of the budget, and we'll be voting on that on Thursday. And there are some really important things in there. Now that it's public, encourage folks to go through, look. There is language around things we've been fighting for, whether it's good cause eviction, build public renewables, fixing the MTA. I feel very excited that we've been able to push the needle in even a short period of time. So I think that is a big win for our community, all communities, and really has been the bulk of the work in the last few weeks of sitting and pushing and debating with colleagues in conference. So I'm proud of the work that we've done there. In addition, we've been in on some other meetings. I know we had our town hall with Nydia Velasquez recently. I'm sure other folks reported back. We've met with the DOT on BQE at the state level. So last week we had a meeting with representatives from Hochul's office, the DOT, and the overlapping state electeds, where we pushed them to do more community engagement and got some updates about how they are working with the city on the NEPA process. That being said, still centering concerns around health, around environment, around racial justice, because unfortunately, government applications for funding, especially federal funding, don't account for those things. But that doesn't mean that we don't keep pushing and centering those issues as well as a fix. I know we also, since I last saw all of you, had the Army Corps Town Hall as well. I'm committed to still working with the other overlapping electeds to really take into account all of the community feedback we received, and just want to thank everyone here. If everyone was, those of you who were part of that meeting, and finally have done additional meetings with advocates around street safety. And I think we do see, I was advocating specifically for Sammy's Law in conference. I will continue to push, but I think we are seeing a larger call for investment on redesigning our streets for pedestrian and biker safety, and to reduce the number of crashes that we've been seeing from all parts of our district. If that is okay, meeting agenda, obviously, you know, don't, I know kind of popped in out of nowhere. So if there are other items on the agenda, you can also send the questions to my office, but if time permits, I'm happy to stay and take questions.
Thank you, Senator. Councilman Ressler, you want to speak now?
Senator Gonzalez is a tough act to follow, but I'm happy to be with you, Chair Fuller, and everyone at CB1. Thank you so much for the opportunity to say hello.
Is internet access? Oh no, is it? Hi, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you, Kristen.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear us? Well,
she's frozen.
Well, I just wanted to share a few quick updates on our end and thank everybody at CB1 for their service. Excited to hear more about the district manager search and any ways that me and our team can be helpful. Please let us know. We're very, very happy that we were able to help a little bit with Mox to finally get the water bill paid at CB1. And if we can ever be helpful in navigating city government in any ways and providing the support that you all need, please do let us know. Just a few quick community updates. Firstly, working in partnership with Congresswoman Velasquez and Senator Gonzalez, Assemblymember Gallagher, and our Councilmember Gutierrez, we are going to get the first Meeker Avenue CAG meeting on the books in about a month in April. So we'll be sharing more information on that soon. It's going to be a few more months until we have a facilitator in place from the EPA, but we know there's a lot of concerns and interest from community members to start getting involved in the effort to finally clean up the Meeker Avenue plumes. So we want to start channeling that constructively, and we'll be doing so in the very near future. Our state senator mentioned the recent town hall that we did with her and the Congresswoman Velasquez led, and a number of other elected officials on the Army Corps proposals. And I wanted to thank all of the 200 plus community members who came out and shared their input. The deadline for submitting comments has been extended again, this time to March 31st. But so please, please, please submit comments. We've developed a how-to guide to make it as easy as possible for neighbors to submit comments. The Army Corps has been receptive to our feedback that a 15-foot seawall is a bad idea, but we need to push them on concrete alternatives, or maybe I should not use words like concrete when I'm talking about feedback on the Army Corps' proposals, but on specific alternatives, tangible alternatives that can work to reduce and mitigate flooding for the potential kind of or those 1% storms, as they call them. We are doing a rat academy with our assembly member, Emily Gallagher, on March 28th at the Greenpoint Library. We get more rat complaints than probably any other issue in the neighborhood, and we want to help mitigate issues. So come learn from the health department on how you can do more to mitigate and reduce the presence of rats in our community. Similarly, on the topic of rats, new Department of Sanitation guidelines take effect April 1st. That restrict when you can put your garbage out. We want to encourage every single person in the community to put out garbage in containers so that we don't just have plastic bags on the street that attract rats. Also want to encourage every single person in the community to sign up for curbside composting. If we take the food supply out, food waste out of our garbage and put it into compost bins, we take away rats' source of food. 1/3 of garbage in New York City is compostable, it's food waste. We've signed up over 1,500 people in our office for curbside composting across District 33 this year, and we're still pushing and pushing and pushing for more and more New Yorkers to take it, more and more Brooklynites to do it. We've been working hard on improvements in the Golrick Park in partnership with the North Brooklyn Parks Alliance and Katie and the new Friends in the Golrick Park group that have been doing a phenomenal job. We're recently able to get the Parks Department to do some reseeding, so you'll see some of the areas fenced off. We've got some exciting updates coming, like new picnic tables and other good things. I hope everyone's been enjoying the new pathways in the Golrick that hopefully will continue to prevent flooding from happening and puddling from happening in the park. I did just want to mention we're continuing to gather feedback to share with DOT and the MTA on both the new city bike docks that are being proposed in Greenpoint and Williamsburg and the bus redesign. The MTA Brooklyn bus redesign. The first of the new city bike docks are going to be installed as soon as later this week. So we've gathered feedback from emails that we've sent out and social media posts and are circulating that to DOT so that they take our community's feedback into consideration. And on the Brooklyn bus redesign, we've been really focused on the B48 and the critical connection that it provides between Greenpoint and Crown Heights. We're very concerned about the change that has been proposed and are pushing back against that. We're also looking at the B62, which the MTA has proposed moving over to McGinnis Boulevard from Manhattan Avenue and seeking feedback from neighbors on that one as well. There is lots of other fun, good stuff going on. We have a lot of tree care events coming up around the district in April and May, so please sign up to volunteer to help improve the health of our street trees. And if me and my team can ever be helpful in any way, please just reach out. And thank you, Chair Fuller, for the opportunity to say hello. And I'm sorry, Danielle, to have interrupted your presentation, but thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you, Councilman. Did the senator get her issue resolved yet? Senator Gonzalez, did you get your issue resolved?
No, unfortunately, her service is bad, so she did have to drop off, but I'll be on the call for the rest of the evening for our office. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Danielle, you ready for questions, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, are there any other questions? Any questions for Danielle on the BQE? There's no questions? Okay, we have two people that
One
want to speak
question.
on.
It's Trina. I'm sorry I didn't put my hand up. Danielle, whatever happened to the very worked on proposal for BQ Green? Is that just being put aside, the decking of the BQE along in the Williamsburg area? Is that proposal still alive, or I know that there's a whole lot of new engagement, but is all the work that was done on that proposal just being put aside so that new ideas can spring up? Just if you could fill us in with that, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So BQ Green is something that we definitely need New York State to work with us on. It's on the state-owned portion of the structure. You know, decking proposals like BQ Green are definitely things that are being contemplated. And, you know, some of the feedback we've heard so far from some of the community participants was that, you know, BQ Green is a little bit dated, and, you know, whatever happens here needs to consider the context, which is much different than it was. But I think people are still open to that kind of proposal. But again, you know, it's something that the state would need to be involved in. So we're happy to discuss BQ Green and similar proposals, but just want everyone to have the context that it's not something that the city can undertake alone.
Thanks.
Sonia?
Tina beat me to it. I had similar question from Trina, but she beat me to it.
Okay, Katie?
Yeah, I can also just say, Trina, that BQ Green, we're one of DOT's community partners at North Brooklyn Parks Alliance. We talk a lot about BQ Green as a concept, the kinds of concepts and kinds of feedback, kinds of innovative ideas that folks can, contemplate as well. And Danielle, to your point about the state, is there any movement? I know that our elected officials, including Lincoln and, including our council member and state senator, requested for the state to be more involved in the BQE revisioning. Is there an update on how they're supporting the city's process?
So, you know, we're still in conversation with the state. We're working closely with them on BQE Central as we prepare for our grant application. We're really appreciative that the elected officials have put some muscle behind this. So, you know, we're hopeful that the state will, come to the table in a real way. We keep them updated on the process. We invite them to all of our meetings. I think it's been really meaningful for them to hear from elected officials and community folks that they want state involvement here. And so I don't have a more substantial update, but we're still working on it, and we're still talking with them.
Are there any other questions? I don't see any hands. We have two speakers that would like to speak on this issue. Joanna, would you call their names, please?
Vincent Balmanis. Vincent, you're unmuted.
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to speak. My comment is on the point that was just raised, which has to do with the involvement of the state. I have participated as a community member in the BQE visioning process, and what I have slowly come to understand is that, in fact, the visioning process for BQE North and BQE South is essentially pointless and a waste of everyone's time without the state involved, because the BQE revisioning process is really an issue of lowest common denominator. We can come up with a really fantastic, completely revisioned concept of what it is, but if the state is not on board for the north and south segments, then we're going nowhere with it. So I want to thank very much for the local electeds for their support on that point, and to really drive home, please, at the state level, that we would really need to see much deeper and much more ambitious engagement from their side for this process to really be worthwhile. Thank you very much.
May I respond to that? Thank you, and thank you for participating in the process thus far. Listen, I completely agree that having the state at the table gives us the latitude to do, a much different kind of redesign here. But I think that from City DOT's perspective, we think that the BQE has posed significant challenges in both BQE North and South, and we want to do whatever is in our jurisdiction and in our toolkit to make that BQE experience better. And that could be making improvements under the elevated roadways, that can be enhancing safety. We know there's some really challenging intersections. We know that, for example, crossing some parts of Meeker Avenue can be a little bit confusing and scary. And we want to, do whatever we can to fix that and make it better with or without the state. So I think that's where we're coming from, that, there are improvements that can be made within city jurisdiction, and we want to make those. And we'll continue to work with the state to, seek more meaningful improvements.
Next speaker is Kevin Costa.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kevin Costa. I am a resident of Greenpoint, for those of you who don't know me, and I commute through Williamsburg to Manhattan every day. And I'm one of the folks who has been involved with Transportation Alternatives, one of the community partners for the BQE, and wanted to come out and say that I encourage everyone to please participate in this process. And as Danielle was saying, get involved and really think big and re-envision the space from its current state. I'm involved with Transportation Alternatives, the North Brooklyn Volunteer Activist Committee, and we're involved with various different campaigns that are supporting the BQE's effort, and also involved with making the community more accessible and safer for pedestrians and cyclists and everyone basically in the community. And we're working on a bunch of active campaigns that if you're interested in learning more about, I'd be happy to tell you about. But I think at the end of the day, it's really important that everyone show out and really support the effort that DOT is undertaking, and to think big and to reimagine what the BQE could be in a way that can serve everyone in the community, not just a small fraction of New Yorkers. And with that being said, I also wanted to take a moment just to recognize the two tragic crashes that have happened over the past week and bring that back. Although they did not happen in the BQE, I think it's important to mention that traffic design certainly contributed to both of these crashes, and that we should take a moment of silence and remember those folks who have been taken from us. And it just underscores the importance that more has to be done to make our community safer for everyone, not just motorists. And we need to keep that in mind throughout every effort that we take to make our community safe, and as we re-envision the BQE. So thank you for hearing me today. And if you'd like to get more involved with Transportation Alternatives, North Brooklyn, TA, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll email the board with more info. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Danielle? Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you so much, Danielle, for that presentation. Have a good evening.
Thank you. It was good to see everyone. Please reach out to Rhonda if you have any questions or want more information about BQE.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Next item on the agenda is Daniel Bruno, proposed rule change for the borough president's office.
Thank you,
Bruno?
Chair Fuller. This is Bruno Daniel from Brooklyn Borough President's Office. Thank you for the time. So this is following up from last month on the proposed changes to rules. I have a little bit of an update, and then I'm going to open up the space for any questions or comments. So as of right now, the BB has not announced the public hearing date. So there isn't an immediate next step since the presentation was made on January 6th to all the chairs and the DMs. That being said, do have one resource, and I'm going to share it in, well, there's not a chat here. Okay, I'm going to have to email it over to the community board email. We have a email set up specifically for comments and feedbacks and questions. So that is also available for anyone who wasn't able to send today, or if there's anything comes up in the future. And with that, here to take any questions that folks had from last month.
Does anybody have any questions on the proposed rule changes?
I do.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes, Steve Chesler. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Bruno. It is clarifying. So, I mean, one thing is, I guess codifying council member recommended appointments to the board in terms of deadlines and adhering to certification rules in terms of, you know, the requirements for a board member to live or work, have a significant role in the neighborhood. Just getting confirming that. That's what one of the rules changes that's proposed.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, sorry, you went in and out a little bit, but I think what I understood the question, which is, yeah, it's part of the intent to codify things. And in general, it is. My understanding is that this is meant to clarify the roles between, you know, the borough president's office, also the roles of community boards. And in general, it's to make sure that everything that's being done in relation to community boards follow the process, and it's documented on the record. So that will be part of it. You know, it'll be, I'm sure you read the rules, it'll be simple things like making sure when, like, as you said, when the deadlines are, and what the requirements. So that is my understanding so far, part of what's going to be on.
Yeah. So has this been contributing to the late, you know, board membership being solidified? I don't think between the previous borough president and BP Reynoso, the board memberships aren't solidified until like May or June, and the term is supposed to start on April 1st. I'm just wondering if that is going to help speed up that process.
To that question, it'd be hard for me to say. I mean, if the comment is, please speed up the process, I'll take that back. As to the efficacy, I'm sure any clarification makes things better.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying if council members are, you know, making appointments after the deadline, if that's, you know, adding to the, you know, to the problem, contributing to the problem. And then I just had related to the training, suggesting like example trainings on the DCAS system and the financial management system. Just trying to understand I mean, I saw the general impetus behind it to get board members more familiar with the financial process, but just seems kind of extreme in terms of, it just seems like maybe there are other alternatives in terms of increasing the literacy of board members' knowledge of city finances, board finances, et cetera. But maybe, you know, can fill in, you know, help me understand that.
Thank you for that. That's helpful. Yeah, and to that, yes, the trainings were a newer thing. My understanding is most of the feedback is that they were welcome and successful, but can you, I just want to give you space. Can you explain a little bit more about why you categorize them extreme and the alternative, if you have any alternatives?
What would the benefit of my learning the DCAS system? I mean, I mean, it'd be beneficial to know how DCAS works and how it relates to the board and the community and that sort of thing. But I unless I misinterpret it, you're suggesting that we learn the actual, like we go in and like log into the DCAS system and, you know, look at data or look at what have you. I totally missed the boat on that. But it just, I mean, the whole thing, I guess, we're trying to just get community boards trained and more knowledgeable on the whole spectrum of issues and category areas that we, you know, that we address here. But I was implying that you named specific systems that I know the board office uses. I'm just trying to think, it just seems, we're just having people, trying to get people to attend our meetings, attend our committee meetings, and then we're going to add on, potential training and learning these, these systems that our paid employees of the board use. It just seems like it's adding some difficulty to, but I don't know. And then I'm just trying to see the benefit of I feel like it would take, the learning curve for those systems would be quite extensive. So it just seems like a little much in terms of trying to get board members, better versed on everything.
I hear that, Stephen. Yeah, and now that you explain it that way, I can take that back, and I understand the feedback you're giving. It's always welcome because this is something that mostly iterative, and so I'll take that back. Thank you for that.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just one last thing regarding administrative help, codifying that the ability of the BP to offer like secretarial, assistance in the board office is that, I guess, in the situation where, our district manager, left, retired, and we're still left, we're down 2 people in our office, that give the ability of the BP to offer, physical resources and, to help us, get through a situation like this or other ones where, the work load must be addressed.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. I'm not quite understanding what the question is.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand one of the rules is allowing the borough president to provide administrative assistance to board offices where I guess where they cannot do that right now. I was trying to understand what circumstances or what situation that would.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
and then
yes.
and I'm assuming that's not allowed to be done right now. I guess I'm just confirming that.
Yeah, that's not the reading I was given when spoken to our general counsel. That's more, my understanding at least, is that that's more of a universal clarification of just how the process move forward. And the intent there is to clarify that the BP's office and the community boards aren't a top-down process, but more agencies that are working together, and that the BP's office's role is to serve as a connector to other agencies that can actually do that kind of work of processing things over. My understanding is not that it's
Okay.
tied to a specific thing. I think it's more of a universal, like setting this forward, trying to clarify the systems moving forward.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Dal?
Yes, thank you. I also have a question about the administrative assistance or ministerial assistance that the community board can ask for help with or can ask assistance with. Can you give us examples of what's encompassed in that? What kinds of things does that enable us to ask for help with or assistance with?
Yeah. Things like that, I think, are going to be moving forward after the hearing. So this is something that I imagine our Department of General Counsel and community boards are going to do once we hear back from folks. I don't think there are specific things imagined quite yet.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I
Hearing
have
none?
a question. Oh,
Katie, Madam Chair, Katie.
Okay, go ahead, Katie.
thank you. I don't know if it would necessarily be a rule, so part of this conversation, but one thing that's come up on this community board a couple of times since I've been on in the last year or two are just protections for community board members in terms of either maybe online or personal attacks, in that if we are sort of members of the public and putting our faces out there and have positions or maybe votes, if the borough president's office could in some way provide protections for us as servants of the public in that way, and therefore open to open to those kinds of, attacks from, let's say, members of the public or whomever. And so I know that some other community boards have responded to that kind of behavior. And so I was wondering if that could be something the borough president's office looks at as, stated policy.
Thank you for that. That's very useful. And I'll certainly take that back and I'll elevate it with a sense of urgency. And hopefully we'll have more information moving forward on that. But thank you.
Madam Chair, also just a brief question to Sante Micheli here.
Sante.
Hi, Bruno. Thank you for the presentation. So just 2 points. One, curiosity is, are you just letting community board know, or you are seeking from input from community board later on? I start reading it, but it's a little bit vast and complex. And then what are you proposing today potentially could be expanded to other possible item into the list you have proposed? I don't know. I can think of one, maybe clarification on conflict of interest sometime. I know it's been some time vague, but I believe we have a role in the board that we definitely can have influence, even getting to discussion, even if you recuse yourself, but just the presence of being community board can be conflictuous sometime, if you belong to organization, and sometime indirectly can be monetary, definitely a advantage, that other could gain from that. So wondering if this could be a potential item that could help to clarify the long-standing, ideal conflict of interest.
Yes, thank you for that, Santi. Yeah, just repeating from the beginning, where the process stands now is that there isn't a date yet. We're coordinating with other stakeholders to set up that hearing. So that is the next part in the process specifically regarding feedback. I'm here because they were just questions and we want to be responsive, but this is not intending to be the space for feedback. Obviously I will take things back that I hear anyway. It doesn't hurt, always useful, but I want to emphasize, if I hadn't already, that the best way to do this will be at that hearing, and we will certainly let people know with time when that hearing is, so people can take the things that they're raising and the questions and submit that there. In addition, I will be sending out an email that we've created to just, my understanding is taking feedback and questions on a rolling basis. So that's the next steps. That's not so much here. I'm just here to answer questions because it was something that was raised. But the formal process is pending the hearing. And in the meantime, you can use the email.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. Bruno, so you state that today was the purpose of just answering questions. So is these new policies or regulations, they're just not going to be implemented? It's just, what are we talking about? This is just an idea, and then we give feedback, we give suggestions, and then the borough president's office will consider it. So it's not written in stone yet?
Yes, they're just proposed right now.
So within these hearings, we can add, take away, or how much power or they're empowering us to do as a community board in general, in terms of what is the borough president looking with these changes. I understand these changes are only in effect until he's the borough president, right? And then it just goes back to what?
No, I don't imagine that the effects would only last for the duration of the borough president's term. With regards to what you can say, well, it's not my place to tell you what you can say. Your feedback is your feedback. So whatever suggestions and whatever questions you have, please, very encouraged to share that through the hearing process. But yeah, just to reiterate, they're proposed. A presentation was made to chairs and DMs on January 6th. So mentioned, I can hear from all of you that have read it so far that it's been shared and it's pending a hearing, and that's when the feedback will go in. And then from there, we'll all see what adjustments will need to be made. But yeah, there's plenty of time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Steve, is your hand up again?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I'd just like to expand on what Sonia just asked. Inevitably, is this a Brooklyn Borough president policy that's going to be changed or implemented, or is it more you're updating the city charter that would require, broad approval by the city council, et cetera?
Yeah, the mechanics of that escape me at the moment, but I can certainly return that in a response. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bruno. Thank you for answering our questions. We really appreciate it.
Madam Chair, I have one further question, which has to do.
Okay, I'm
with-
looking for hands. I don't
It's
see
Trina, I
hands.
have my hand up, I'm sorry.
I'm looking on the participants.
Oh.
Yeah,
Would it
that's
be
what
okay-
I'm looking at. If I don't see your hand.
Okay. But would it be okay if I
Go
ask one
ahead,
question?
go ahead.
Okay. A couple of years ago, on the ballot were term limits for community board members. And I, if I remember right, it passed. Whatever happened to that?
Those term limits are in place.
And what are they? I mean, we've got a lot of members on our board that have been on the board for a really long time. What are the term limit rules?
I don't want to quote law that I don't have right in front of me, but I can like they are in place. And this seems like a conversation that we can move forward with our director of community boards. But yeah, we can go that over. And I think actually this is some of the things that come up in the training, incidentally, that are given to board members. But happy to pass this along. I just don't want to give an answer in a place that I'm not 100% confident.
Would be great
Bruno,
if
not
you
to
came
cut
back
in,
to
but
us.
just to the upshot of it, Trina, and I'm not looking at the exact language that was approved, but it takes effect at the end of the decade, and it was 8 years that somebody's permitted to serve consecutively. They can then jump off the board and be reappointed again after, I think it's a year, maybe 2 years. But my recollection is that it doesn't take effect until 2028 or 2030. So we still have some time.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Bruno. Next is liquor license. We have any speakers on liquor license?
Yes. Mark Nagawiki. Mark, you're muted. It's unmuted. It's not working. Next speaker is Chris Roberti. Next speaker is Abby. Next speaker is Dirk McCall.
Hi, this is Dirk McCall de Paloma with Avenue Marceau. We just wanted to say thank you to the committee for supporting the application and that we're still here and we look forward to working with you on the board.
That is it for our speakers.
Thank you so much, Joanne. That concludes our public session. Now, board meeting, can we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
Gina Argento,
Here.
Valin Bakaraski,
Here.
Lisa Bamonte,
Here.
Tina Barrows,
Here.
Eric Brusides,
Here.
Iris Cabrera,
Here.
Philip Caponegro,
Rabbi Needleman, please mute yourself. Thank you.
Frank Cabone. Frank Cabone?
Sonia, you got me?
Yes.
Okay.
Steve Chesler.
Here.
Michael Churchella.
Here.
Teresa Sincado. Stephanie Cuevas. Ronan Daly.
Here. Here.
Giovanni D'Amato. Giovanni
Here.
D'Amato.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
here.
you. Aaron Drinkwater.
Here.
Arthur DiBonosky.
Here.
Lloyd Fang. Julia Amanda Foster. Alice Fuller.
Yeah.
Mr. Garcia.
Here.
Joe Goldstein. Joe Gross. David Helmick.
Here.
Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz. Katie?
Here.
Thank you. Sonia Iglesias here. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey. Robert?
Here.
Bonzina Kaminsky.
Here.
Murray Canton.
Here.
Paul Kilterborn.
Here.
William Klasberg.
Here.
Thank you. Yolando. Marie Lieza.
Here.
Thank you. Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Here.
Adam Myers.
Here.
Thank you. Sante Marcelli.
Present.
Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi David Niederman.
Here.
Karen Nieves. Maria Domerick.
Here.
Janice Peterson.
Here.
Bella Sable.
Here.
Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Here.
William Vega.
Here.
Maria Viera.
Present.
Simon Weiser.
Here.
Thank you. Madam Chair, 36 members answered the call.
Thank you, Sonia. Can I have approval of the agenda?
I make a motion, Bozina Kaminsky.
Second the motion.
Second the motion.
Ronan Daly.
Bozina and Phil
Ronan Daly?
Caponegro.
I got who?
Bozina and Phil Caponegro. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Can I have approval of the minutes, please?
Motion to approve David Niederman.
William Vega seconds.
Rabbi Needleman and William Vega, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This show don't sound like 36 people. guys.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Thank you. Can I have the speakers for the public session, please, Joanna?
Thank you.
Next
Can I do my
speaker.
report first? Chair,
Next-
can I do my report?
Simon, we
Sure.
didn't get there yet.
I know, but I have a meeting.
Next speaker is Orlando Bispo. Orlando Bispo is not present. Next speaker is Lauren Comito.
Guys, sorry, it's too much. Guys, you have to mute yourselves. This is difficult. I'm trying to write the notes and it's giving me a hard time. Please mute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry. This is Lauren Comito, the branch manager at the Leonard Library branch on DeVoe and Leonard. I have some updates for you from the general library and for what we're doing at Leonard Library right now. So there is a borough-wide teen writing contest. Submissions will be accepted throughout March, where writers from grades 6 to 12 are invited to submit poetry and prose to the teen writing contests. There's cash prizes, $500 for first place. So if anybody knows a child who likes to write and also likes money, please encourage them to submit their writing. And they can also drop in at libraries throughout Brooklyn to grab a little writing kit. It's the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and BPL is joining with Queens Library and New York Public Library System to celebrate. We're going to have some announcements of programs following this spring. Queens Public Library has Ralph McDaniels on staff. We don't have anything quite that fancy, but we're going to be doing programs throughout the borough. We're also starting up our senior debate teams again. It's a hybrid Zoom and then in-person program, all leading up to a senior debate tournament at the Central Library, and will run from 3 months. Those are the updates from the general Brooklyn Public Library. And then from our branch, Leonard, we are still closed, but we have 3 different locations where we're providing remote service. On Tuesdays, every Tuesday, we're at the Talea Craft Brewery at Richardson and Leonard from 11 to 4. This morning, we had a really great story time for Women's History Month with Miss Elizabeth. Every other Wednesday, the bookmobile will be located at the Leonard Library. And then every other Thursday, we will be bringing our little book wagon over to Here, which is a coffee shop on DeVoe and Bushwick. It's at 26 Bushwick. So if you ask us where we are every other Thursday, we'll say we're here because that's the name of the coffee shop, not because we're telling you that we're here in the location we're sitting in. It's a play on words that they take very seriously. So we hope to see people at one of those locations. We'll be making library cards and checking out books at all of them. And then next Tuesday at Talea, we'll be having resume review from 11 to 1. So if anyone's looking for work, they can drop by and get their resume reviewed. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know how to get the hand up.
No questions from the public, Jan.
No questions?
Not during the public session. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Ryan Coonan. I do not see Ryan. That's it for speakers.
Thank you, Joanna. Committee reports, Simon Weiser.
Good evening. And I'm the chair of the search committee and for the district manager position. And tonight I will be giving an update of the process where we're up to and what's going forward. So the search committee consists of the following members. They include the search committee and executive board members. The following names is Chair Fuller, Gina Barrows, Del Teek, David Heimlich, Sonia Glacier, Chance Peterson, Phil Caponegro, Maria Vieira, and myself, Simon Weiser. The search and executive committee have worked many long hours to ensure we follow all procedures correctly in reviewing and selecting the right candidate for the vacant district manager's position, and we appreciate your patience. We want to provide you with the following update. This has been a very long process finding the candidate. The first issue we had was finding funding for the advertisement in the various outlets. Then the wording of the job description, sending emails to various city agencies for guidance, looking through the resumes, setting up dates for the interviews, and then lastly, interviewing the candidates. We advertised the district manager's position on the Brooklyn Community Board 1 website, also on Indeed, and in the Green Line community newspaper. Also, we asked many board members, all the board members actually, to put it on their LinkedIn account so we could get many candidates. An email address was created for the applicants to submit their resumes. The search committee had a rigorous pre-screening process, and 84 applicants applied for the district managers, for this position of district manager, of which 8 of those 84 were chosen by the committee that had the criteria that would fit the job description, that could fill the manager's job. And after that, they were all invited for an interview. We had a few interviews on a couple of dates. The duration of each interview was 1 hour. All interviews were done in the evening, and some started as early as 5 p.m. and ended at 9 p.m. Following are some dates that the interviews took place: February 16, February 15, March 2, and one more date. At the interviews, all the committee members introduced themselves to the candidates. Some committee members asked the questions. All the candidates were asked the same questions. Then the candidates were given opportunity to ask from the committee any question or concern they may have about this job. I have to say that we interviewed many, many good candidates, actually all of them. The interview stage of the search committee process has been completed. The search and executive committees will meet tomorrow, March 15, to discuss the candidates and then pick and vote on the 3 top candidates that they feel most fits this position. This process was sent previously to all board members on February 15 last month, how this process will move forward. At this meeting, as I said before, we will pick the first 3 top candidates, and then those 3 candidates will be invited to a special board meeting that will occur on March 21. There we're going to vote on the final pick. At that board meeting, which will take place on 21st of March, all board members will have opportunity to ask questions of the 3 candidates that were voted by the search committee. Also, the search committee agreed that those 3 top candidates that will be voted on, their resumes will be sent to all board members before the special meeting, as I said before, which will take place on March 21. Then the full board, all board members, will vote publicly on their pick on this the manager for the CB1 position. I come to conclude my report, and I feel it's very important to thank all the search committee members, which include the members and the executive board members. They put in so many hours into this process, especially Gina Barrows and David Heimlich. And lastly, I have to thank our Chair Fuller for the hard work put into this. Hopefully soon CB1 will have a new district manager. Thank you.
Simon, I have one correction.
Okay.
The first step in the process well, due to budgetary constraints, the first step in the process was securing the money to hire somebody. Okay?
Right. That's what I mentioned in the, took time for, right, I got it. Took time to find funding.
Yeah, you went through
That's
the
what
steps, but that was the first step.
right, got it.
Thank
Yes,
you
after
so
all,
much,
let me
Simon.
just let me clarify what the chair Fuller was saying is that we had to get funding, and it took much time that we got it approved from various agencies for funding for the advertisement of this position. And this finalizes my report.
Thank you so much, Simon. Any questions? Anybody have anything they want to add?
I have a question, Del Teague. Hi, Simon. It was my understanding, as a member of the committees, that we were going to share with the full board what our opinion was as to who was the best candidate and the next best candidate.
Yeah, that's supposed to be part of the packet we send to the board, Dale.
Okay, I just wanted, because you didn't mention that, Simon, that we would, obviously the community board can vote however they want, but if we had a ranking where we felt strongly that someone was, stronger than the others, that we would be able to share that with the community board.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Madam Chair, William Vega, may I speak?
Go ahead.
I just want to clarify. Did I hear this? We're going to publicly vote. I think this is unfair to the candidates that many of them may be our friends, and it would be put in an awkward or embarrassing situation. I think it should be valid done by email in all fairness and consideration to the candidates. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Williams. Sorry, Madam Chair. This has to be open process. As per the Brooklyn Borough President's Office, Mr. William, everybody has to record how they vote. There's not email, there's no private voting or ballot. It has to be a public, open process. We have to vote during the roll call.
It has to be an open process because we have to send a whole packet to DCAS. We have to send a packet to the borough president. So it has to be open and transparent.
Yes. We're always complaining about the transparency of the board, so we've got to vote openly and in public, and it has to be recorded, and it has to be sent out to the proper people. So it has to be done that way. Sorry, Mr. William.
So it's going to be WebEx and vote
So
like.
be WebEx and a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Chair Fuller, I had my hand up. Giovanni D'Amato.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we're being so transparent, are we going to get the list of the finalists? Who the 5 were?
Yes.
We just said we were going to send a packet to the full board before the full board meeting.
Everything. You're going to get everything. I'll
Let's
make
hope
sure as
so.
a recording secretary. Yes, you will.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. SLA?
Good evening, board members. Good evening, Madam Chair. We had our meeting was held on the 28th of February. Was a very busy and busy meeting. I would like to thank all the SLA members for the hard work they put into this whole process. And I would like to thank Johanna for all the hard work. She's helping us with all those new applications and the renewals. So the first, I hope everybody received the report. So I would like to have a motion to accept the report as written.
Make the motion, Ronan Daly.
I second that, Bożena Kamiński.
Okay, Ron Daly and Rosina Bezginski, all in favor?
Aye.
We have to do
That's a roll call vote. This vote is
Roll
weak. I
call?
know we got a quorum, but the vote
Roll
is too
call,
weak.
yes.
Roll call vote.
Gina Argento. Gina,
Yes.
Q, Martin Baskowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Eric Rosaitis,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Capernegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Steve Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chinchilla,
Yes.
Teresa Sencado, Stephanie Cuevas, Ron Daly,
Yes.
Giovanni Diamato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibinowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster, Mr. Garcia,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein,
Yes.
thank you, Joel Gross, David Helmick,
Yes.
Sabrina, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Motion Zinding, Robert Jeffrey, Bonzina Kaminsky,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Jeffrey, yes. Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kulterborn,
Yes.
William Klasvold,
Yes.
Yolando, Marie Lieza,
Yes.
Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Sante Machelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Rabbi David Niederman.
Yes, that was a yes for Toby.
Toby, you didn't answer my roll call. Toby, ¿qué pasó? Rabbi David Needleman. Mr. Rabbi, Karen Nieves, Mary Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sables,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega.
Here.
Yes or
Either
no?
yes or no.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
People, focus. Maria Vieira,
Yes.
My neighbor's house was just broken into, so I had to step out with the cops.
Ay, santo Dios. Simon Weiser, Simon. Guys, gotta help me here, please.
Sonia, I apologize. I was on earlier and then I had some issues with my phone. Wasn't getting a charge. I apologize.
Was that Miss Toby?
Yes.
Okay, so we got 34 yeses. Civil no, civil abstention, civil recusal. Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another thing we have to ask for the motion, the vote for the whole board. We as a SLA, we prepared the letter because 149 McCarran LLC, that's the McCarran Hotel, like the whole board knows about it, that there's a big issues with the noise over there. And we as a SLA, we prepared the letter to be sent from the full board to deny the renewal application, but we need a vote on that as well. So the letter was attached to the report. This is to deny the approval for the liquor license for the renewal for the McCarran Hotel at 160 North 12th Street.
I make a motion, Del T.
I second that motion, Ronan Daly.
L. Teague and Ron Daly, roll call vote, please.
So Del Teague and Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
ready, guys? Gina Argento,
Yes.
Valim Bakowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamonte,
Yes.
Gina Barros,
Yes.
Eric Rosaitis,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Capernegro,
Yes.
Frank Carbone,
Yes.
Stephen Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chinchilla,
Yes.
Teresa Sencado, Stephanie Cuevas, Juan Daly,
Yes.
Giovanna D'Amato,
Yes.
Erin Drinkwater. Arthur Dibanowski.
Yes.
Lloyd Feng. Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia. Crystal Garcia. Joe
Yes.
Goldstein.
Yes.
Joe Gross. David Helmrich.
Yes.
Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz. Katie?
Yes.
Thank you. Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Zinding. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
Bonzina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn.
Yes.
William Klagsbold.
Yes.
Yolando. Marie Liaison.
Yes.
Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Yes.
Sante Machelli.
Yes.
Toby Markowitz. Toby.
Yes, yes.
Rabbi David Needleman. Sharon Nieves. Mary Adamarick.
Yes.
Janice Peterson. Bella Sable.
Yes.
Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Yes.
William Vega.
Absolutely.
William Vega, you still investigating? Okay. Maria Viera. Maria Viera.
Yes.
Thank you. Simon Weiser.
Here, yes.
34 yes, 0 no, 0 abstention, 0 recusal. Motion carries.
Thank you so much, board members. That really means a lot to the neighbors of the hotel. And the last thing I would like to say, our next SLA board meeting will be held on the March 28th at 6:30. So all of you are invited, and that's it. Thank you so much.
Arturo, I have a question just to clarify on that. Is the office going to send a letter with the detailed resolution about the hotel? Just to make sure, I believe we spoke about that at the last meeting.
Sandra, the question is towards me or Chair Fuller?
No, towards you. I said we voted definitely to support.
Right. So the draft was attached to the report.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, the report was sent by Johanna, so you can read the attachment, and that's what we voted on this evening. There's a draft that we deny. We as a SLA, we denied it already, but as we promised the neighbors, we will create a specific letter specifically for this location, which is really hard to deal with, and that the neighbors have a really hard time with the noise.
Sure.
And they came so many times to our board meetings and the SLA meetings. So that's what we voted on. So that's why I think the
No,
whole.
perfect. I just want to make sure there was a detailed resolution. Sorry, I missed that on the report.
Yes. It's the letter is attached to the report.
Great, you answered. Thank you.
Oh, no problem, Santa. Thank you so much. And like I said, our next SLA meeting is going to be held on March 28th at 6:30 p.m. Thank you so much, Chair Fuller.
You're welcome. Thank you. Transportation, Eric.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a number of votes. We had 2 base renewal licenses that we voted to approve together. Motion to approve base license renewal for mobile #1 car service, license B01492. And Metroline car service, Old Faithful, B01534. That was approved unanimously without objection or abstention. I need a vote.
Sonia makes a motion.
William Vega seconds.
Sonia William, roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento.
Yes.
Bogdan Bakowski. Bodnan. Lisa Bramante.
Yes.
Tina Barrows. Eric Brusitis.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera.
Yes.
Phil Caponegro.
Yes.
Frank Carbone.
Yes.
Steve Chesler. Michael
Bogdan
Chinchilla.
Bakowski is, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Who's Teresa Sincado, Stephanie Cuevas, Ronan Daly,
Yes.
Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Drinkwater, Arthur Divinowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joe Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross, David Helmick, Okay. Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moshe Zinding, Robert Jeffrey, Rosina Kaminsky,
Yes.
Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kulterborn,
Yes.
William Glasgow,
Yes.
Yolando, Marie Liaison,
Yes.
Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Markowitz,
Yes.
Rabbi David Niederman, Karen Nieves, Maria Domerick,
Yes.
Janice Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sables,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Viera, Maria,
Yes. Yes.
gracias, Simon Weiser,
Did you get Bogdan? Sorry, did you get Bogdan?
no, what did you vote?
No, I was on mute. I couldn't put me.
So what's your
Yeah.
vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
$33 yes, zero no, zero abstention, zero recusal. Our number's going down, people.
Thank you. Second item for a vote, we heard from the parents of Detective Wilbert Mora and his captain, Jose Taveras, of the 3-2 precinct in Manhattan. Some of you may remember that Officer Mora, or Detective Mora, was killed in the line of duty last year. His memorial was this past January. You may have seen it on the news where the mayor attended. After his parents came here, he was a member of the Southside community. He went to the old PS 19, which is now Arbor School. And his parents still have ties in the community. Councilmember Jennifer Gutierrez's office asked for a co-naming of Keep and South 3rd Street in honor of the detective. We approved that unanimously without objection or abstention. And let me just read. I'm sorry. Let me just read the motion that we voted on.
Thank you.
Motion to approve the co-naming request for the corner of Keep and South 3rd Streets in honor of NYPD Detective Wilbert Mora. And that was made by Kevin Costa and seconded by Mr. William Vega.
I make a motion, Iris Cabrera.
And William Vega seconds.
Iris and William, roll call vote, please.
Tina Argento,
Yes.
Valen Bakarowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bamanti,
Yes.
Gina Barrows, she's left. Eric Rosaitis,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes, Sonia.
Bill Capernegro,
Yes.
Frank Carone,
Yes.
Steve Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Trinchella,
Yes.
Teresa Sencaro, Stephanie Cuevas, Shannon Daly,
Yep. Yes.
thanks, Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Evan Drinkwater, Arthur Dominowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joel Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross, David Helmick, Sabrina Help, Katie Denny Horowitz,
Yes.
Sonia Yes, Moses Ending, Robert Jeffrey, Bonzina Kaminsky,
Yes.
Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kulterborn,
Yes.
William Clasbold,
Yes.
Joe Lando, Marie Liaison, Marie? Lee?
Yes. I'm
Thank you. Yolo, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
He doesn't say her
Yes.
name. Right.
Sante Michelli,
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz, Rabbi David Niederman, Karen Nieves, Mario Domerick,
Yes.
Janet Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sable,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega,
Yes.
Maria Viera,
Yes.
Simon Weiser,
Yes. Yes.
$33 yes, 0 no, 0 abstentions, 0 recusal, motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. The last item for a vote. So we've been having discussions on Commercial Street and the changes around Commercial Street. You know, most of you know that it's transitioned from a largely industrial area to an increasing number of residential units, which is creating a challenge for a lot of the new families that are there and crossing the streets, competing with trucks and etc. I received a request from Councilmember Ressler's office to sign on to a letter that Congresswoman Velasquez and Assemblymember Gallagher had signed on to, calling for two specific items, which is a conversion of Commercial Street to a eastbound one-way traffic pattern from DuPont to Box Street, and a conversion of DuPont Street to a westbound one-way traffic pattern from Commercial to Franklin Street. It's been the policy, at least of the Transportation Committee, to, with all due respect to the elected officials, not to sign on to a letter that would require a DOT study. And while none of the committee members necessarily disagreed with these options, there is currently a transportation study underway for Commercial Street. And as long as that is under review and expected sometime in June, it would be more appropriate to send our own letter as Community Board 1 to say that since you were doing a traffic study, you should include these two particular items in your traffic study. And, you know, those of you that have been around for a minute will know that, you know, when we looked for a reversal Mass Beth to a one-way to reduce truck traffic. While the board was supportive, we sent a letter to DOT asking for a study. Same thing with the Collier Triangle a few years ago. There was a lot of support for that, but we needed DOT to study it. And since there is a study, we need them to study this as well. All that to say that the committee did vote to send a letter to the Department of Transportation. If I can just get back to my motion. Okay, there's a draft of the letter attached to the report for those of you that had a chance to read it. And so I'll just read the motion that was approved. It was Community Board 1 to draft a letter to New York City DOT requesting community requests for safety improvements on the commercial street corridor to be included in its current traffic study and report back to the community board no later than June 23rd, 2023. And that was made by myself, seconded by Ms. Mary Domerick, and approved unanimously without objection or abstention.
I'll make a motion, Trina.
William Vega seconds.
Trina and William Vega, roll call vote, please.
Gina Argento,
Yes.
Bonnie Makowski,
Yes.
Lisa Bermonti,
Yes.
Gina Barrows, Eric Rosides,
Yes.
Iris Cabrera,
Yes.
Phil Caponegro,
Yes.
Frank Cabone,
Yes.
Steve Chesler,
Yes.
Michael Chinchilla,
Yes.
Teresa Sencada, Stephanie Cuevas, Ron Daly,
Yes.
Giovanni D'Amato,
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater, Arthur Dibernowski,
Yes.
Lloyd Fang,
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster, Crystal Garcia,
Yes.
Joe Goldstein,
Yes.
Joe Gross, David Helmick, Sabrina Help, Katie Denny Horowitz. Katie? Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moses Zinding, Robert Jeffrey,
Yes.
Bonzina Kaminsky,
Yes.
Corey Canton,
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn,
Yes.
William Clasbold, Joe Lando,
William, yes.
William? Joe Lando, Marie Laza,
Yes.
Joe Lowe, Trina McKeever,
Yes.
Adam Myers,
Yes.
Sante Michelli, Sante, Toby Markowitz, Rabbi David Needleman, Karen Nieves, Mary Domerick,
Yes.
Dan Peterson,
Yes.
Bella Sables,
Yes.
Isaac Sofer, Del T,
Yes.
William Vega, Mr. William, Maria Viera,
Yes.
Sonia,
Simon
wait,
Weiser.
sorry.
Somebody speaking?
Yeah, Sonia, sorry, William just texted me. He lost his internet, but he votes yes. He votes
Okay.
yes.
Well, he-
Similarly, it's Katie here. I couldn't unmute earlier, and I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you. Simon Weiser,
Are we frozen?
no,
Count-
I'm
Counting
counting.
votes.
32 yes, zero no, zero abstention, zero recusal. The number's going down, people. 32.
Thank you, Sonia. Let's keep in mind, like Sonia said, our numbers are going down. We don't want to lose our quorum. We got other reports. Eric, does that conclude your report?
I hope some of you saw the letter from DOT Commissioner Rodriguez regarding our inquiry regarding the Avenue of Puerto Rico. Just quickly, I'll encourage you to read the letter that was sent around, but in a nutshell, it's a citywide policy to take the overhead signs down and put up just regular street signs for clarity and a bunch of reasons the letter details. He did note in the commitment that Avenue Puerto Rico is flagged specifically so that it will always be Avenue Puerto Rico. I'm making that embellishment, but I'll encourage you all to read the letter and just a little update on that because it's important. And I'll report this out more fully at the committee meeting, which is next Thursday at 6:30 WebEx. Thanks, the 23rd. Good night. Thank you.
Landmarks.
Okay, hi, everybody. So our committee met in quorum. We had 11 members, but we had a situation which I'll tell you at the outfront, and then we'll get to it in the report. We voted on a resolution, and the vote was 5 for it, 5 against it, and 1 abstention. And at the time, the 11 of us in the room did not know exactly or did not know for sure what that meant. And so we ended up putting the resolution on hold and sort of kicked it back to the full board, which is us tonight. So I'll tell you what the issue was and where we got to with the resolution and where the discussion was, and then we can further discuss and come up with a new resolution or vote the same resolution. But here goes. So the subject is 136 Franklin Street, which came before the full board last week. It's a ground floor commercial building in the middle of the block on Franklin Street between Milton and Greenpoint Avenue. And there's what that block is. There's a row of 8 brick buildings that were built in 1855 that all have ground floor commercial and residential up above. Most of the renovation going on for 136 Franklin was approved at the board level by Landmarks, but the only thing that came to us, if you'll recall, is the backyard, the extension in the backyard, which will take up the whole backyard. And the reason it's coming to us is because it's visible from Milton Street. When you look, so Franklin, one building in from Franklin Street on Milton Street, there's a 2-car garage that you can look over through the trees, which are the backyards, and the green space, which are the backyards of the buildings on Franklin Street. And you can see straight through from Milton Street to Greenpoint Avenue across the backyards on Franklin Street. And this 1-story extension will be 1 story, and you'll only see kind of the top line of it across the backyards. But it's also on the, so there's 1 story that the extension is, but there'll be a terrace on top of it, and you'll be able to see the guardrails of the terrace and the very top of the 1-story extension. And what the way the people, the presenters presented it, and it's true, it's somewhat inconspicuous because the railings are painted the same color as the fire escapes you see, and the stucco that the extension will be made from is the same color as the brick. But what we had asked them, if you remember, as the board, when they presented at last month's meeting, we asked them about the backyard and how it extends into the collective green space that's formed from the backyards of the whole block. So the backyard of Franklin, of Milton, of Greenpoint Avenue, and of Manhattan form what is called a donut and it's basically the collective green space. And it was a very important part of the buildings, the 19th century building. It was significant because it was built into blocks to provide air and provide green space at a time when the city was being very built. And it's very much something that's noted in historic districts. And you guys might remember years ago, there were 98 Greenpoint Avenue, which is on that backs into the same oval, came before the board, and they were building. That's also a commercial space on the ground floor of Greenpoint Avenue, and what we ended up discussing as a board was more their front facade, but what they ended up building or presenting, and what we as a board ended up passing was a whole ground floor extension to their back lot line. But what happened at LPC, the Milton Street Block Association, as well as Councilman Levin and the Historic District Council came out against it. It was eventually built. And so that stands as a big incursion into the oval. There were questions about, one of the other things that we had asked as a board was to see renderings of it and how the extension would be viewed from the backyard, say in Milton Street, in the back of Greenpoint Avenue. But what the presenters explained, it right now there's an existing fence that will be higher than the level of the extension. So from the backyards, certainly you'll see the railing, and you'll see the terrace that's on the second floor, but you won't see the extension of the extension from Milton Street. There were big discussions and objections, or just there, I guess, a giant sigh that there exists in commercial zoning, the ability to build to the lot line, because what they're proposing is definitely is allowed by zoning. But it was brought up that backyards are so essential for cooling, for oxygen, for the porous surfaces they provide for drainage. And it was described as heartbreaking that you can just obliterate the green space in the back of the backyard. So that the committee, there was a long discussion about that, but it was also pointed out that what we're voting on too is the visibility of the extension from that particular space in Milton Street. And yes, you'll see the railing, and if they put something on the second floor or up on, it's a terrace, and so you'll see the terrace from there, but you really won't see the extension itself. And also commented was that unlike the Historic District Council coming out against the 2017 extension on Greenpoint Avenue, the Historic District Council did not see a problem specifically with this specific proposal. So that's kind of where our discussion got us. And a resolution, I'll read you the resolution that was made, and it was made by Sante Michelli, and it was seconded by Katie Napoltarski, who is a non-board member of the Land Use Committee. And the resolution that was voted on and tied, and I have to say what we learned after the meeting was that a tie means that the motion ultimately failed because it didn't have the votes to pass. So at the time at the meeting, we didn't know what was up, but the resolution that was made and voted on as a tie with one abstention was a disapproval of the proposal, in that, and that is to deem the proposal inappropriate, citing the importance of the rear yard donut and the sanctity of the view shed from Milton to Greenpoint Avenue. And second, to ask CB1 to write a letter to Councilmen Ressler and Gutierrez and Borough President Reynoso and the Department of City Planning, citing the 136 Franklin Street situation, the rear yard extension, in which the rear yard is done away by the extension, requesting legislation to protect green space in the yards of commercial property. And so that motion was voted on. It was tied. We didn't know what to do, but in the kind of in the wake of it, there was a second resolution that was discussed and decided not to be voted on, which was that to support the proposal on the condition that the roof of the extension was a green roof, and to keep the second part, and then to keep the second part of the initial resolution, which is sending the letter to the elected officials, asking them to re-examine the law that or the ability to do away with green space in a commercial backyard. So that's kind of where we are in terms of what happened with the committee. And
Can I say something?
please.
Dell, I just want to sort of give a little bit more detail. Several of the members of the committee, including myself, were confident that this did mean that it failed. However, and so then I did make the countering resolution to approve it, especially since it's taking up the entire backyard, is allowable as of right. The only question was, you know, was there some visibility? And somebody else did mention that, look, if they aren't allowed to do that, and if it's just based on green space, losing green space, if they wanted, they could just cover it with concrete. But in any case, I just want to mention that several of us were confident that that it meant that the resolution failed, but there were several members on the committee who questioned it and didn't, you know, in the interest of time and in the interest of allowing the full board to just know what the thoughts were, what the result was, we decided no harm done. We'll just let it go back to the full board, knowing that there were 5 in favor, 5 against, and those of us who were confident that it had failed knew that the next day it would be confirmed by legal counsel that it had failed. So I just
And
want
one abstention.
Yeah, one abstention, and it was confirmed.
it failed because it was tie and there was one abstention.
And that evening, Joanna wrote to the legal counsel for the board, and by morning we had the confirmation that in fact it had failed.
And on that same point, I just want to note that it's definitely true that the motion did not pass, but the confusion is understandable in part because of some what I think is like very inexplicable language in the training that we all received as community board members, which spoke of different circumstances in which abstentions may be counted as yeses or nos. And so following that meeting, I did a lot of research on this, and I had a long conversation with Greg Lewis, who's the borough president's general counsel on this issue, trying to understand why the community board training says that. And I still don't understand exactly where that comes from, but the rule as established by the charter is that on an emotion, the yeses need to exceed 1/2 of the members present. And an abstention, as I understand it, counts neither as a yes or a no, it's just a non-vote. And so the question was, we had 11 people there, there were 5 yeses. Are those yeses more than half of 11? The answer is no, and that was the metric by which it failed.
Okay. So here we are.
Madam
We need
Chair,
a vote, Trina.
I'd love to add a couple comments, if that's possible.
Please.
I believe this needs, you know, some additional, I believe, clarification. Unfortunately, this, you know, with the Milton Street Block Association and with the Greenpoint Avenue and the Franklin, which is part of this donut, it's a long story, you know, with the community board and with the community. As a matter of fact, I received a couple of phone calls from some of my neighbors, of which they watched the video, and of course, you know, they felt that's why they don't want to attend community board meeting anymore. I mean, it's becoming, why am I there? So, but anyhow, he raises some question, and this is needed to a lot of people that they attend many meeting. You probably, that's how you met me. I wasn't a board member, but 20 people and probably more sometime, they came with a poster and, you know, and sign to demonstrate the community board to go against.
Just to clarify, you're talking about the Greenpoint Avenue.
Yeah, I'm talking about, yeah,
2017.
but this is the same donut. So just to clarify, you know, it's just 4 houses down. So there is all an history. There's an history that started want to preserve and actually the most important history, and I will go by component. Unfortunately, I have to take it as a sort of discovery. I have to go through paper that I just found today and I couldn't find. Sorry, Trina. You asked me, I didn't know where the paper was. And I know you were supposed to send definitely the report, and there would have been no time. But I found all this paper. I found letter that after protests from the community that the full board has voted. You know, there was a letter voted in 2014 where the full board recognized, there were like 48 votes, recognized the sanctity of the historic district, of the donut. This was about legal license, but it's important I link into that, where there was just use of the backyard. And the community, unprecedentedly, despite all the narrative, SLA approve everything, they approve everything until a community goes there, and there were like 25 people. Rich Mazer was with us many times in this meeting, and Chair Rosen at that time, thank also to the letter of community board, recognized the sanctity of the residential, because 99% of this inner core, this garden, this backyard, whatever you want to call, which was an historical feature in 85, 1850, since the time when the building were built, very important historic feature recognized by Landmark, was recognized by the SLA, and the license and the use of the backyard was denied. So the license was granted, reduced, all indoor. This was a first step. Later on, this was in 2014. In 2017, 98 Greenpoint Avenue came not for a legal license, but this time was an extension. And for the first time, a backyard that, yes, was on the ground floor, of which Greenpoint Avenue is a commercial overlay, but the backyard, these are the difference of what is happening, because it's important the community understand. They had door into the backyard that were for the entire building. They were not closed down and made exclusively for the commercial space, even if sometimes they are the commercial space. This is a practice that's been happening later on. There were door in the back, you came down the stairs, and every tenant used the backyard. Occasionally, they put a barbecue. There were some 50 years magnolia tree on 98 Greenpoint Avenue. But when we discovered, and I wasn't a board member, 98 Greenpoint Avenue was approved by the Landmarks Committee, and I have here the reports and everything, and immediately stated, and I remember when we came with community, Bosina Kaminski said, they told us that was as all right. Yes, from a land use point of view, from a zoning point of view, is as all right. They would have to not to come to the community board if it was in any other neighborhood and not in a historic district. But because it's a landmark, even by landmark, rules of landmark at the LPC, they don't allow it. They had to amend those rules through going a process of public hearing, and that's why they come to Landmarks Committee. So one thing is very important, where you are, it is as all right. It's irrelevant because they don't come to the Land Use Committee. They come to the Landmarks Committee, and it is not as all right. So in 2017, under the proposition of the Landmarks Committee, that extension was approved. That generated a lot of complaint. You remember, Madam Chair, all the member came with a poster. There were articles that were wrote on the paper and so on. Steve Levin came with us, and Ben Soliter, Steve Chesler, which I believe at the time was a board member, came even with the community to the LPC. When we went to the public hearing, Steve Levin was next to me talking at the public hearing at the LPC. But it was more important is that after that vote on, I believe on June 14, 17, of which the full board, unaware, the community didn't protest yet, approved the report of the Landmarks Committee on October 26, 2017, after multiple protests from the community that came and demonstrated in numbers at the community board. There is your signature, Madam Chair, a letter of which unfortunately the vote of approval of that extension could have not been withdrawn, but an additional letter was wrote and is signed by you. And it's kind of in contrast a little bit with what we're doing. We're repeating again the same mistake of the time. Yes, they told us it was as all right, and the Landmarks Committee approved it, and they didn't know. They think that's what the community was told. By that time, Community Board 1 wrote, members voted in favor of sending this letter to Landmarks supporting the notion put forth by the resident of Milton Street that the rear yard extension constitute a threat to the shared rear yard green space and set the precedent for further incursion. We understood as a community that it was a little bit awkward for the committee to withdraw what it was voted, but an additional letter for the full board was right, and it was a kind of compromise, a political compromise. Now, from 2017, another extension is coming. This was the fear, of course, of that event at the time. They would have kept coming and obliterated this green space. Green space which are valuable for environmental reason. We got flooded in my building, luckily very little. If it would have been for my green garden, I would have probably got 3 feet of water, but I didn't. So only a portion of water entered the basement.
Hey, Santo, you got to get to your point because we don't want to lose our form.
I know, Madam Chair, but without the fact, this is like a court case. There's a paper and history and documents. Without this detail.
I understand and I see where you're going, but we don't want to lose our quorum. Maybe y'all should take this back to committee.
Yeah, but let me finish it because we voted without knowing that. So I heard many things. Oh, somebody could put concrete. No, by rules, surface need to be porous on backyard, right? So you cannot discharge into the sewer system water. So you cannot pave, you cannot put, you need to pave with porous surface. Water need to be absorbed if you have a rear yard. If you put a terrace with an extension, you don't. So the Historic District Council also, because this is a landmark, the Donuts a landmark, wrote it. This building with a generous backyard did not require whatever. I tried to go. This western edge of the block has so far benefited from an intact shared green space, which would be married by banal rear extension. Although the commercial overlay allows for this rear extension, we wish to make a plea for minimizing its impact on its residential neighborhood and recognize the historical importance, because at the time we were trying to find solution to make more hygienic to live in building. This neighborhood was advancing, and many other neighborhoods in New York City, with the creation of the backyard. And again, backyard have been always historically available to the resident and not only to the business. Now, the link is so vast, and it makes no sense that the community board stated to support this, and we continue to support extension. This is a landmark. There is no, what is the conflict of interest? You know, it's a building that has been purchased. There is already a commercial storefront. This should not happen. And beyond the fact that it could have asked the council member to sign and to work on legislation, I believe the greatest statement that the community could make is to make a statement that says we value green yard. We value because they are historical feature, they are part of the landmark, because they are an environmental feature, because they add oxygen, they can potentially become green space, and they cannot be paved, they cannot be poured concrete on. It's illegal who does that, and they contribute as a measure to safeguard from flood and for other issue related to that. And also, one of the neighbor called me today. He said, the chair mentioned this word. He said, knowing that probably council member Wrestlers has no problem with this. I mean, the community feel concerned. If the council member, I don't know, Dale, if you knew that, but if the council member has no problem with that, the committee has been battling for years about this. I can't believe this is okay. It's against green space, and we just have, but it's our.
Dante, I did not say that anything about Councilman Ressler. I have no idea what Councilman Ressler thinks about this application, nor did I ever say that.
I rewatched that, and he said, you said exactly, because somebody told me. I said, really? I don't even remember, because I didn't.
I did not. I have no idea what Councilman Ressler thinks about this.
Sante, I think they may have misheard something that I said, which is true, which is the Historic District Council, which had come out against the 97 Greenpoint Avenue extension, has no problem with this. And so I think
I believe they pointed at
that's
the
what
chair.
they're not commenting. They're choosing not to comment on 136 Franklin Street.
I
And
mean,
maybe
I
that's
rewatched it,
what it
Trina.
is.
I'm not saying that it's a, the question was also that it was said that knowing that probably the council member has no problem with this. So I don't know where they came. I didn't remember because I would have argued.
I did
on
not say anything about that. I have no idea what the councilman thinks about this.
I
Not a
watched
clue.
the video again. Is there? But
Sanjay,
anyhow,
maybe
You can
someone
watch
else
it
has-
all you want. I didn't say anything about the councilman. And,
I mean, it's there. I rewatched the video. It's on YouTube. But anyhow, the concern I'm saying is the council member doesn't care about this because this would have been a concern for the community also. But anyhow, I believe it's important to stand with pass vote because the community can't come all the time with 20 people. And now would be even improbable. We went to the landmark. Steve Chesler was there. We were there, 20 people. Rich Mazer. I mean, it's been years of a lot of work. And again, to start again from scratch, I'm losing my stamina, and it's nothing personal, guys. Of course, everybody is allowed to have idea, but I want to state it on the fact, on the record of paper. They are here next to me, and it took me hours to find where they were and wow. That's all. Dale, nothing. You didn't say anything wrong. I'm just stating some.
I didn't say it. I have no clue as to what the councilman.
Look, we said a lot of things there and the meeting. I'm saying,
Okay,
that's all.
Sanjay,
sorry,
enough.
guys.
It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. And plus,
Okay, guys.
I do want to make it clear.
Calm down.
I do
One
want
at
to
a
make it
time.
clear that no one from the community came to object to this. I think what Sante is talking about is a different application at a different time.
Yeah.
I'm not telling people to vote yay or nay on it. I just think people should have a clear understanding of what was discussed.
There's a few other people, Madam Chair. I think they have their hands up.
Can I
They want to
say
comment.
something? I think
1
it's
minute, Bozina. 1 minute, Bozina. What you say, Sonia?
There's a few people I see with their hands up, but I think Bozina as well.
Okay.
Can I speak, Madam Chair?
Yeah, go ahead, Bozina.
Okay, I think it's very important for, nobody said that Trina did her due diligence as a chair. She reached out to the landmarks department. She got all the information regarding this property. And the only issue the landmark with this application has is, I believe, the view of the railing, basically. There's really not much for us to decide with this application. And I understand Santos' approach and the fight regarding the other property because it was a little bit, underhanded at that time. And we didn't know that we could stop it because we didn't know that was even possibility. Here, this application is gonna be approved by the landmark as of right. It's just
Absolutely not, Bozina. Sorry it's not as a right.
Sante, let her finish.
I think there is a statement from the city, and we know that there is no problem with the extension. The only problem is because this is a landmark, neighborhood, a historic district, they are concerned about the views. This is what I understand. And if I'm wrong, fine, but this is what I understand. And don't get me wrong, I support what you're saying. The green sites in the backyard of those buildings and Greenpoint Avenue and Milton, absolutely. This is something that we should fight for, but we have to also, be reasonable with what we're fighting and if we can be successful, okay, in that fight. That's what I wanted to say. And I voted against your motion. And I think this is very difficult, complicated issue because we are volunteers and we have been faced with making this decision where the city completely they have an army of people which are, you know, on a payroll. They working there, they studying, they getting all this information, and they not helpful to us. You know, this is not fair. That's how I feel. This is not fair from the landmark department and the city to just drop this on us, say, well, they could build it because it's as of right, and just take care of the railing if you like the railing, whatever. That's
Can I
what
make a clarification, Bozina? My clarification is that it was kicked to us because you could see it from Milton Street. And what we did at the meeting, when it was presented to the full board last month, we brought up the fact that there was the donut. We heard from the guy giving the proposal that Landmarks had no problem with it. The people that also had no problem with it were the Historic District Council, which are a group of, it's who I often, as the Landmarks chair, have turned to. It's a group that weighs in on landmarks issues, historic district issues, and they lobby where they see where they see a concern. And they had come out against the proposal that Sante was talking about on Greenpoint Avenue in 2017. When I talked to them, they did not have a problem with this particular proposal. Even though I brought up and I went back to them a couple of times and asked them about the donut, they didn't have a problem with the donut here. And maybe that's because Franklin Street, maybe the donut is perceived of as being more between Greenpoint Avenue and Milton Street. I'm not sure, but I pushed them on it, and that was what they thought. And to build out to the lot line is as of right by zoning, but it came to us just because you could look over those garages and see the railing, and that's.
Trina,
Other people going to be able to speak or not?
Yes, please, Jan, go
We're
ahead.
Just repeating the committee.
Wait. We have hands that been up for a while. Devani and then Jan.
I got nothing to say. The hand just never went down.
Take your hand down. Jan?
Okay, I'm just saying that I think last time I've heard it now twice, so I really get it. And what I'm most concerned about is the fact that anything to do with green space in Williamsburg Greenpoint cannot be undermined, because we are so badly under-treed and under-green that the idea that we would give an inch of land of green space is really bothersome to me. And behind all this, once you make once you make an exception and you come up with exceptions, we got all everybody that lives in public housing. The city is trying to figure out how to take all their land all the time and to move it back. I just think it's a very dangerous precedent to do what you're saying, and people need space and they need backyards. And to talk about, and I hear the work, I mean, I'm not undermining what you're saying, that people really worked hard. This is a very serious group, this committee. I have no doubt about that, and that the work that's been done. But I am really concerned that we would erode anything. And when we do it because of forces not in our neighborhood, other committees from somewhere else, or a political leader from here, that's not a rationale. It's the people that live over there. If we have to go and get a whole vote, then maybe we have to do that. But it just seems to me that that this is not a good precedent for landmarking anything. We've got to protect it. That's my view. So either
Anybody else
the
have any
committee
questions?
or a vote. Right.
Santo, you had something else you wanted to say?
I think William has his hand up.
Yes, no, because truly it's important to understand, Bozina, it's not about the railing, and definitely I said that at the meeting. It's important to understand. First, we are the community board. Do we support what we supported years ago? And because the community needs to have support. The only reason I'm here is because there is a community here. That's how I got involved the first time. And it's very important to understand that the Landmarks Commission is formed by different individuals and they have different vision. Having a community board, making a statement it's an additional encouragement to make changes. If we say, oh, it's also right from land use. The reason they are here, there are many reasons. The backyard, the historic donut, the fact it's an historic feature. I don't understand why. It's not about the railing. There is no guilt. There is a developer who's bought the building for $3.6 million. He definitely is going to increase the price. The price $5,800 a month rent, commercial space. If they double the space to 2,000, it's going to go to 20,000 a month instead of $10,000 a month. It's not going to be damaged. And to be honest with you, Landmark in our district, there are probably 5 blocks. So in a universe of development, millions, billions of square feet, we're talking about 5 blocks of historic district, whatever they contain, whatever feature is there, backyard.
Okay, Santo, we got some other hands up.
There is no question about 5 blocks of 1 family to 3 family houses. That's what we're talking. That's what we are protecting. And this is green space. Very important. Very important to me personally. I love the green space there. It's an important
Santo. We feel
Thank
your
you.
passion.
Thank you.
William Vega,
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want, unfortunately, on
we
the
can't
day,
hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
We need you to go a little louder,
Okay, can you hear me now?
somewhat.
Yes.
Very little.
Okay, this is the max I can do. I'll talk loud.
Better.
Unfortunately, myself and Paul couldn't make the meeting on Monday because we had a town hall with our city councilwoman. So let me get this straight. This is privately owned property. The issues with the previous applications have nothing to do with this. And the application that went to Landmarks is to deal with not the ground, the grass, is with a railing. And if that's what they're asking for us, it's going to be passed. So I understand green space, but I think our battle should be to build credibility. We have to fight battles we're going to win. That's all. Thank you.
Lori Canton.
Thank you. I just wanted to note also as a member of the committee that while we found out on the call that it did indeed fail, the whole point of this was to bring this issue up about the green space. And I think that while I don't think we have the jurisdiction to deny the application based on what we were being asked for, and I agree with what William just said, that the whole point was to bring this to the attention of the board, to bring a point to the donut and to the green space that we feel should be kept regardless of commercial or residential. And I think that we did indeed serve that point tonight. So thank you.
Sonia Glaciers.
Hi, yeah, I'm just a bit confused. Is the committee on a standstill? They go back and revisit it? I mean, what are the options? We debating back and forth. What is the solution? What is going to be the resolution to this issue? Because back and forth, we can do that all night. What does the board see or the committee, Trina, see as far as what resolution? Do you go back and revisit it? Are there members that weren't present that should be in the committee meeting? Do you just do a new meeting and revisit it? I'm confused.
Okay, it has to be voted on by Landmarks this month. And so we have to, if the board wants to weigh in on this issue, a resolution tonight has to be made and voted on. There were 2 alternate resolutions made one resolution made that it failed, and then a second resolution discussed. Maybe one of the people that made one of those resolutions wants to speak up and make a resolution, and we can vote on it and I think all the questions are answered. I think people understand the issue. And does someone want to make a resolution?
Can I make a resolution? Again, probably is the same one. I will make a resolution to the night based on all the things we have said. And definitely additional, I will say they will write the council member, the borough president, city planning, all the things we have listed, and it's a record last time at our committee. But the denial, it's a statement. Most likely LPC will make decision, but probably we will be encouraged. Sorry. Okay. So and then write and encourage the fact of the donut is historic. So it's important historically, but also today in this climate change time, it's a major contributor to prevent flood and all the possible
Second
things.
your resolution.
But then the
Okay,
resolution will be to deny the extension and to add this additional.
I second that.
Okay,
there has to be
Santo
a
and
motion.
Jan Peterson, roll call
He
vote,
makes a,
please.
he makes a motion?
Yeah. Sante,
Santo,
made a
yeah.
Santo and Jan Peterson. What's Sante? Roll call vote.
Getting ready, but I'm still confused on that motion.
Okay.
For clarity, the motion,
The motion is to deny the
deny.
proposal and to write the letter to the councilman. It was,
Okay.
the resolution was put forth by Sante and seconded by Jan.
Thank you.
Should I reread that motion again for a second? Try to summarize, clean
I
it.
don't think it's
I
necessary.
think everybody
Santo.
knows it's Sante.
Yes, okay, so let's start. Gina Argento. Gina? Vadim Bakarowski.
Yes.
Lisa Bermonte.
No.
Gina Barrows. Eric Brusitis.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera.
Yes.
Philip Caponegro. Bill. Frank Cabone.
Yes.
Stephen Chesler.
Yes.
Michael Chincelli. Chinchilla. Teresa Sancaro. Stephanie Cuevas. Ron and Daly.
Yes.
Giovanni D'Amato.
No.
Eric Drinkwater. Arthur Dimanoski.
No.
Lloyd Fang.
No.
Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia.
No.
Joe Goldstein.
No.
Joe Gross. David Helmick. Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
Yes.
Sonia Iglesias. I don't know. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
Bozina Kaminsky.
No.
Corey Canton, I'm sorry. Corey?
No.
Paul Kilterborn.
No.
William Glasgow.
No.
Joe Lando. Marie Liaison.
No.
Joe Lowe. Trina McKeever. Trina.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Adam Myers.
No.
Sante Marcelli.
Yes.
Okay. Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi David Needleman. Karen Nieves. Mary Domerick.
No.
Janice Peterson.
Yes.
Bella Sables. Bella?
I don't
Isaac-
know enough about the situation. It's very confusing.
You abstaining?
I guess.
Yes.
Yes, I'll abstain.
Isaac Sofer. Del T.
No.
William Vega.
No.
Maria Viera.
No.
Simon Weiser. 10 yes, 15 noes, 3 abstention. Motion fails.
How many yes were there?
10. We only have, look, 25, 28 people present. People didn't vote, so
Is
10
that a
yes?
quorum?
Yeah, we
quorum?
have quorum because we have 28. 25 is a quorum. Now,
Okay, we gotta
Motion-
speed it up, folks.
but motion fails, sorry.
Trina?
Okay, I think what I'll present is the second resolution that took place at our meeting, which is to approve the proposal with the recommendation that the roof is a green roof, and secondly, to send the letter that was described to the elected officials. So it's a letter to LPC finding the extension appropriate with the condition that the roof is made into a green roof.
I second the motion. Bożena Kamiński.
Trina and Bozina, roll call vote, please.
Woohoo! Gina Argento.
Abstain.
Abstain. Valen Bakalowski.
Abstain.
Santa Cachucha. Lisa Baranti.
Yes.
Gina Barrows. Eric Rosides.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera. Iris. Phil Capernegro. Frank Cabone.
Yes.
Steve Chesler.
No.
Michael Chinchilla. Turchella. Teresa Sincata. Stephanie Cuevas. Ron and Daly.
Yes.
Giovanni Diamato.
No.
No. Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur Dibanaski.
Abstain.
Goodness gracious. Lo Fang. Lloyd.
No.
No. Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia.
No.
Joe Goldstein.
No.
Joe Gross. David Helmick. Sabrina Hope. Katie Denny Horowitz.
No.
Katie?
No.
Only abstain. Moses Ending. Robert Jeffrey.
No.
Bonzina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn.
Yes.
William Glasgow.
Yes.
Joe Lando. Marie Liaison. Marie?
Yes.
Joe Lowe. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Yes.
Dante Michelli.
No.
Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi David Needleman. Karen Nieves. Mario Domerick.
No.
Janice Peterson. Janice Peterson. Jan. Bella Sables.
Abstain.
Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Yes.
William Vega.
No.
Maria Viera.
Yes.
Simon Weiser.
Sonia, Iris Cabrera, no, I'm sorry. I lost my connection.
Iris Cabrera, no. Thank you. Fourteen yes, 11 no. One abstention, Sue recusal, motion carries.
There were more than one abstention. I can recall.
Or two abstention, I'm sorry. Mr. Bone, oh no, there's four, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so it's too many back and forth. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 abstentions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 no's. The still motion carries.
No, the motion fails because you need to have more than half of the people present. And
So the abstentions count.
the abstentions still earn the denominator of the people present.
So what the motion fails because you didn't have a majority? I mean, I don't get it.
Correct. That did not pass with the majority of the people present.
Yeah, it has to be 50% plus one present.
Unless, Adam, it's an abstention with cause, right? Because if it's with cause, then it doesn't count.
Right, if
This
it's
is
a
not
recusal,
abstaining
it
was just an abstention.
yeah. No, a recusal is different from an extension. So what do we have here? The board doesn't want to approve it and doesn't want to disapprove it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't. It's just
But
ridiculous.
I'm not sure how people are voting here, but I guess we're back to starting all over again here. We'll be here all night, guys, but this is not making any sense to me personally.
But the motion failed, so let's move
There are
on.
people that have abstained, Del, because they don't understand the motion.
Well, that may well be. That may well be.
I mean, I had my
Motion
hand
failed,
raised
let's
earlier.
move on.
I had my hand raised earlier, but the motion was proposed before I had a chance to actually talk. I don't know if we're moving on, Chair.
Well, I don't think we can move on. We have, the board does not want to disapprove, didn't want to approve. So, I mean,
Motion failed.
so I guess we have to try to come up with something.
Could I just offer something here?
Back to committee.
Since the board cannot make a decision either way. You know, approve the application or deny it. That the board report that
Exactly.
you just wrote, for the core reasons against, the core reasons for.
And we can make your resolutions and put the vote on that they both failed.
So we're going to have nothing, no resolution, nothing. That's
the vote failed.
Well, you could send a letter saying that we had a vote for it that failed, a vote against it that failed, a vote for it that failed, and we can include the committee report and just say that we couldn't vote.
It's a mistrial.
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with that, because if there are reasons why folks are abstaining and the reasons are because the motion is unclear to them, then I believe that it should be made clear so that they can make a vote if they so choose.
I agree.
Well, who's to say they don't understand, that they just don't want to take a stand on it one way
There
or
are
the
folks
other?
that said, for instance, Miss Bella Sable said she didn't understand, therefore she was abstaining.
That was the first vote.
Sonia Iglesias said, I don't know. And that was it.
There's no consensus. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, there's no consensus. I mean, you can't go back and forth because people abstain.
And from the people,
That's the bottom line.
Other committee
I
reports
understand
that
that
have to
people
be
are
voted
abstaining
on.
because they don't understand, not because that there's no consensus.
I understand what you're saying, Maria, but people, that's basically why people are abstaining. They
The
don't
motion
want to
should
take
be
a
made clear
stand.
to folks.
excuse me, there was a few people that did not vote, that I see their faces, but they did not vote. They didn't, when I called their name, they didn't vote. And when I looked through it, it was not no abstention, no nothing, they didn't vote.
I don't know why people abstaining, they just.
Yeah, I also noticed that people who voted against the disapproval then voted against the approval. So I'd be curious to know why, were those folks, what was the reasoning for doing that? And maybe that we can fill in the gap.
We already had
Somebody
to vote.
mute. Can somebody mute, please?
I think it's, sorry, Rabbi Niederman, if you wouldn't mind muting.
He didn't even vote. The rabbi didn't vote. There was a few people that.
Don't scream. I hear abstentions. I hear three sides over here. I'm totally confused.
I think the addition of the letters kind of confused people. Maybe we just need a cleaner resolution to vote in favor of it without the letters about the backyards.
So I'm hoping that, this is Del Teague, I'm hoping that the letter was clear. The letter was that even though we were, that we were approving as long, with the condition that they have a greenhouse, not greenhouse, I'm sorry, a green roof, but that the letter was to tell our electeds that we would appreciate a change in the law that would be more protective of the backyard spaces, and that they would change the law that gives the commercial spaces the automatic right of way to take up the whole backyard space.
And that was
but
not
that's-
just in the historic district, that was in general.
Correct.
The
We
district.
felt that,
Yeah, but it's really beyond the scope of the landmark subcommittee. I mean, that's really an environmental, issue, not a, design appropriateness.
okay, so you feel that you don't feel that we should vote on such a letter. You think that belongs to the
I
environment.
think because, because we're picking on these small amount of historic lots. What about all the other ones that can build as of right?
No, what the letter was to urge the city to reconsider allowing commercial spaces to just as of right obliterate backyard spaces. It wasn't just for it wasn't just inland. Now maybe that is the problem. Maybe there are people on the community board who don't want to write such a letter. So maybe the resolution should a resolution should be made to approve the application with the green roof and not to include the letter.
Yeah, no,
but
we
we
could
could
take that
also-
issue up with the environmental committee, the green, like providing incentives for property owners to preserve or create green space in their backyards and remove it from the landmarks motion.
So maybe that's,
Steve, I agree
I would
with
be willing to
Steve
make that motion. I make that motion, just to approve with the green roof and take away the condition of the letter. Take the wet letter away and let the environmental committee look into that.
Yeah, I
we could
agree with
also say
Steve
that
about
Sorry, Ken.
I agree with Steve about the separation of the letter, that attaching it to this one application maybe doesn't make the most sense. I guess it's what also for me personally as a voter is I don't quite understand the green roof component as well. I lived next door at 142 Franklin Street for the better part of a decade. So I very much understand the meaningful impact of the green space behind those buildings and the significance of the historic area and the impact that changing that is going to have on our community when there's been so much density just west of that. So I wouldn't support it knowing that it is as of right and that this board does have the say to be able to have an opinion on those things, right? It's not necessarily just because it's as of right doesn't mean that the community can't have an opinion, right? And so that's what we're voting on. It's the opinion of whether or not the historic appearance and preservation of this space for these houses can or can't exist, because we would basically be voting to take it away from those residents. So I wouldn't support that. And I don't understand how the green roof, which isn't necessarily it's not a 1-for-1, the folks on the ground who historically have experienced that, whose children have played in it, who have grown gardens in there that wouldn't be able to grow anymore because of the shadows that would be created of it, how Green Roof would be a replacement for that. How would you access that as a member of the public? How would you even know it's there? How would it impact and offset some of the green infrastructure that the soil on the ground would have? So for me, it's also all of these things together are confusing because you're talking about a letter, changing legislation, you're talking about adding green infrastructure above ground, but without the same accessibility and impact of what has historically been there. And then also, of course, the impact of people's private homes and their, a chance for their children to play and a chance for them to have their backyard gardens, which wouldn't continue. So it's for those reasons I would vote no.
But
even
that's
though it's as of right.
that's already been voted down tonight. That to deny the application was already voted down.
I fear that by adding is a way to encourage people.
I wonder if I can say something. I wonder, people are very concerned about the environmental issues and how much weight does each of these concerns have. There is like environmental issue here, landmark issue, green roof / green space, and railing. How much, how does the railing, I can't understand why the railing should be a problem. I'm concerned, and how big is this house? Maybe we can, if somebody brought a photo and showed us, just like other things that you need to be approved, if we see a photo and it's being explained, this is this, this is that, or people will vote because they'll see in front of their eyes the concerns, and then they can decide. But now everything is speculation. Is this a 20 by 100 lot? How big is the lot?
It's about 70 feet, probably.
The depth?
The depth, yes. So practically, most likely, and I know my lot is about, it's about 50. No, it's about 50 feet, probably 40 feet. My lot is about 50. So let's say
the frontage.
The front. So I'm assuming approximately at 20, say, square feet of width by that length, you can add 1,000 square feet of ground floor space, if that can help. But this was in the presentation. I don't know if Trina attached also to the report. I didn't look in detail if there was also the presentation.
The report is at the end of
so this wouldn't make a big it's a small house, and in the long run, it doesn't make such a big issue. It doesn't. Either way, it doesn't make such a big issue. If this would be like concerning an entire block, it would be more from concerned of the impact that any situation can bring. But this is a small house, and
everybody will do that, Bella. Everybody will do, because it's many attached. Each house is attached to other. Imagine if you are between two extensions, you're going to be locked in. 12 feet, 14 feet below, you're going to stand too. So everybody, this was the fear generally, everybody acknowledged that fear, even who voted in favor of having them building, that of the domino effect. Everybody will look to extend because of
I abstained because I don't know the situation. I just don't know how to act. That's it. If I had a picture, I would like from the next few houses on each side, you can understand what's going on.
There was a committee report.
No, I'll keep it my way. I'll keep the abstained, and I'm just thought that maybe something can clarify the situation a little better.
I believe it's important to understand, to tap on what Katie Daniel Horowitz was saying too, is understanding if you care about, I know it's an environmental issue and we could discuss that, we can ask for legislation, it can take out 10 years. In these 10 years, the entire from Greenpoint Avenue to Franklin, everybody has a domino effect, will ask to extend, we're going to lose the entire backyard.
Yes.
And so this will happen in the meantime.
No, this is the most dangerous part, because people will take it as as a sign they can do whatever they want and
The only tool,
continuation. Yes.
the only tool we have today is the landmark tool. And because the donut, the green yard, this backyard, were still an historical feature, we could make the comment. Of course, as Trina was saying, landmark may approve that, may do in a redimension that, but if we keep doing that statement because we believe in the historic donut, that definitely consequentially it's a green space and it's an environmental issue. And so this is the tool we have available. We can vote whatever we want. We can support, but the moment we vote yes, green roof, it means nothing. It means that we have lost the ground, that potentially you can plant a big tree, big roof, normally green roof, you can put a couple planters and a little bit of grass. So it's not the same as having a ground and a real green donut. A park, it can be elevated. You know what I mean? A park, you need ground. But anyhow,
Actually, now it's the first time that I heard
so
about the
let's not get
donut.
misled by the green roof can encourage others to vote. I could say that people misunderstood the first motion. They felt, and I believe a lot of people didn't answer because politically you don't want to say yes, you don't want to say no. You know, unfortunately, I know how it goes. It's hard.
What is that? May I ask what is the definition of the donut effect?
Can I'm going to read this, whatever that means. This, the Historic District Council wrote it to the LPC. As the commission knows, the garden core or donut or row house and apartment blocks was a significant urban planning feature of the cityscape. Around the time which these buildings were being developed, New York City adopted the Second Tenement Act, seeking to ensure that apartment houses provided sufficient light and air for human habitation. These buildings, with their generous backyard, did not require this, at least not originally. This western edge of the blocks has so far benefited from an intact shared green space which would be marred by this banal real extension. Although the commercial overlays allow for this extension, we wish to make a plea to minimizing its impact of its residential neighbors and by denying it.
Sante, that same organization that felt that way about Greenpoint Avenue wrote that the Historic District Council, which judges rear yard extensions case by case, depending on existing accretions into the donut, as well as the size and massing of additions, did not see a problem with the one-story rear yard addition in a row that already had one-story balconies, that the proposal seemed in scale with other rear yard accretions in the immediate area. So
Sure,
they did feel that way about Greenpoint Avenue. They did not, just to be fair, so that
Sure, but I'm saying, but because it's the same donut, what I'm saying, the politically.
same donut, but the same group did not see a problem with this proposal.
I was offering the definition.
No, I really think that, Sante, you're just repeating yourself, and we're going to lose our quorum. You're just repeating yourself over and over again. And I think it is important to understand that this particular backyard it's not really in line with, you know, the long part of that donut. Trina can explain it better
Absolutely,
than I can.
it is. Absolutely.
Trina can explain it better than I can. But
There's so much time spent on this. How about just making a special session for this, about this?
no, we have to vote tonight. Or they're just going to go ahead without us, without any input. And it may be that they're going to do that anyway.
I think everybody should understand basically what's going on here. We need a resolution that everybody can live with. I think somebody need to come up with a resolution because, like I said, there's other votes that need to be taken. We've been on this for almost an hour. It's time to resolve it.
I agree. There's now 9:20.
Can I make again a motion to deny it and let's see what happened?
You already did that motion.
We're going around in circles and we've been, you know,
Ridiculous.
I'm ready to sign out. I'm trying to be
Me
committed,
too.
but
I agree with you.
Come on.
Do you have any other solution?
there's no consensus.
Maybe we could.
If it's a serious situation, we should give it maybe there's always exceptions to the rule, and maybe you can push it off for the next meeting to vote on.
No, we can't.
Oh, they're going to, Landmarks is
There's
going
not time
to
for that.
make, it's
Trina,
gonna
Trina,
rule
do
on
you
it.
have,
What if
Trina,
we,
do you have
Madam Chair.
anything?
I have a suggestion for a motion, which is to approve the proposal, but with grave concern about the incursion into the Oval.
I second that motion, Corey Canton.
Trina and Corey,
So we are approving the landmark proposal that for the one-story extension, but we're adding to it the committee's grave concern about the incursion into the Oval. So it's a little bit, it sort of bridges the gap, I think, this.
yeah, you include everything that people said, you know, the donut hole and all that, your concerns.
And can we just reiterate, everyone, that voting on this is important? Yay or nay, vote however you like, but the abstentions could kill it. So
What did you say, Adam?
I was just reiterating that, given, our quorum is getting smaller, and so if people abstain, then it could defeat the vote again, and so folks should feel some pressure to vote one way or another, is all I'm saying.
I disagree with Adam. People should vote their conscience. If they don't grasp this, they should vote their conscience. That's just.
Well, no, we're agreeing with one another. They should vote.
Trina just made a new motion that I think she's gonna add all the concerns in there.
I think this little house doesn't have an impact on its own, but however, everybody's going to copy whatever these people did, then it's going to become like a concrete block, maybe nothing, no grass anymore.
Well, I think you have to understand that the reason they're able to build this back is because they've put it, there's a commercial space on the ground floor. So it's not as though everybody would be able to do this on that block. And this building is in an area where other buildings have already been built back. It's kind of separate from the pure residential part.
I'm missing one thing here. There is a motion on the floor. It was seconded.
Yes.
Does that not mean that we move to vote? The voice vote?
What it means, but they
Yes.
still want to try and discuss it, Rabbi.
Yes, but we really should move to vote.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, it's been made in second, roll call vote, once again.
Hold on. The resolution to approve the proposal with, what was it, Trina?
With grave concern about the incursion into the Oval. Or don't.
Yeah.
Incursion around the Oval?
No.
Incursion into the donut.
Yeah, into the.
People want to bite that donut already.
Yeah. If it's Peter Pan, yes.
Okay, guys. Gina Argento. Gina? Bonnie Makowski.
No.
Lisa Belmonte.
Yes.
Gina Barros. Eric Rosides.
No.
Iris Cabrera. Iris. Phil Caponegro. Frank Cabone.
Yes.
Stephen Chesler.
No.
Michael Chinchilla. Teresa Sencado. Stephanie Cuevas. Ron Daly.
No.
Giovanni Diamato.
Oh.
Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur Dibinowski. Lloyd Fang.
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia.
Yes.
Joe Goldstein.
Yes.
Joe Gross. David Helmick. Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
After living next door for 10 years, the answer is no.
Sonia Iglesias, yes. Moshe Zinding. Robert Jeffrey.
No.
Bozina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn.
Yes.
William Cosborn. Yolando. Was William there? Yolando. Marie Liaison.
Yes.
Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Yes.
Santi Michelli.
No.
Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi David Niederman.
Yes.
Karen Nieves. Mary Adamaric.
No.
Janice Peterson. Bella Sables.
Yes.
Isaac Sofer. Del T.
Yes.
William Vega.
No.
Maria Viera. Maria Viera.
Where did
Simon
she get
Weiser.
lost?
Simon Weiser. Don't look good. Guys, we have 15 yes, 9 no's. That makes 24, and we don't have the quorum.
It's William Clark's vote. I'll vote yes.
Mr. William, okay, so 16. So, and there's 25 people present and 16 the yes. Mr. Adam, does that mean it passed?
I believe that means it passed.
How many yeses were there?
16 yeses, 9 no's.
Please say yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Excuse me, Janice Peterson, I'm on the phone with her. I don't know what problem she has, but she will continue to vote no.
Well, it's still 10 no's and 16 yeses.
Yeah, so it passes.
It passes.
Okay, next.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Can we move on? Anything else, Trina?
I'm all done.
Thank you. Land use?
Okay, thank you. I have nothing to vote on. I'm gonna be as quick as I can be here. We just discussed the various conditions and policies that we've come up with over the years. What I want to just bring your attention to are some of the policies that I hope that all of you will think about and be a part of a discussion on as we go along. So, you know, I would ask that you read the report. It's not really that long. It's not too difficult, I don't think. But as you all know, we've agreed that we have a right to ask developers to share in the burden that they put on our green space and on our infrastructure. So we need to discuss more how we can form community benefit agreements that really will hold up, and what the scope of those agreements are, and that will involve, of course, discussion with our electeds as well as among ourselves. Also, we want, and you can read an email from Corey Canton who went into this a little bit more deeply, but we talked about at the fact that at this point we're asking for 35% affordable, and we want to discuss the best strategy for getting above 30% affordable, and whether we should stick with 35%, do we want to go to 50%? We're going to try to find out if any of the other community boards have done that. We are also asking the DCP for more information about what AMIs we need. I had a conversation with Lucia Marquez Reagan from DCP, and she's going to have DCP give us some information about what affordability, how many residential units we've gotten since 2005, what's the percentage of affordable, and what is the breakdown of the AMI. Corey mentioned, and we had a discussion about this, and I think it's important for us in the future. She mentioned that we have often been in the unfortunate position where the board and the residents are pitted against each other around the one issue of affordability, when indeed there are other issues that should be taken into account. And so this is something I think for some real soul searching. Let's see, what else? We continue to question the value of the community space floor area preferences unless somehow we can be given tools to show that the requirement to have those community spaces can be enforced. And lastly, we talked about the IBIA applications, the special permits. We need further discussion on how we feel about them. And it's very timely because, just to let you know, 12 Franklin is coming back. They did get a special permit. It's coming back for an extension. So we wondered we need more information as to what the regulations are. I also talked to Lucia about that. She's going to give us some more information and what the grounds are for when they come back for an extension. Indeed, there is the requirement that after 5 years, they would have to come back and get an extension. They have the possibility of 2 3-year extensions. The basic ground for that is they give some good reason why they weren't able to finish, and the application has not changed in any material way from what we had already approved. Now, just a heads up here, they just notified us that 12 Franklin is coming back, that it's only on a 45-day clock. We are trying to get them to delay giving us that letter so that we can deal with this in our May committee meeting and full board meeting. If that doesn't happen, we're going to have to do something we've done before. We're going to have to have a combined public hearing and land use committee meeting together on this application on April 3rd. So that's my report.
Thank you.
Can I say one thing?
Yes?
Madam Chair, can I say one thing? I just want to read a piece in the news, a statement of the mayor. And I think it's very important. We were talking about so many different things that we would like to see and where developers should participate. I just want to read and quote unquote what he said. What we have in the city is a housing crisis. A housing crisis. The goal is to build low income, middle income, and market rate, and to shore up the niches. So it's not one size fits all. So what I'm trying to say is that we are going to add more and more demands from the developers. We have to take in consideration, are we going to lose low income and moderate income housing that is so crucial here in our neighborhood? So I'm only saying, please, we have to be very cognizant of that, and let's take stock of what's here and what the needs are. So please, if somebody, if you can somehow come up with a mechanism how to create something that should look at this issue, please.
Do you have what suggestion do you have, Rabbi?
Suggestion, but we cannot not just add up demands, yes, on developers. At the end of the day, we are not going to have new housing built. And you're talking to somebody, Deltig, you remember that I'm the first one who came up with the idea and pushing on Schaefer of 40% to low income. You remember that. At the time, was there only 80-20. But my point was, this is land given for the government, infrastructure provided by the government, whatever, most probably 421A as well. So there was a lot of funding coming in. So I had the chutzpah to say, as the community sponsor, I'm not going to go with it without 40%. But the private developments, we have to look at it and say, how much can we burden? And what will end up is that low income will go up or even stay, the luxury will go with the luxury, the other units, the market rate units will only go up. The middle income and definitely the lower end of middle income is going to disappear. And in order, as a community, we need all of that. And so, you know, you are the guru, so have to come up with a plan how we look at this.
Well, I
That's
mean,
it.
I think that thank you, Rabbi, but I am not a guru and the guru, and I think that that's why I think that this is something that the community board as a whole, we need to have a discussion about. What do we need? What kind, and I'm asking now DCP for the you know, the numbers of what we've gotten so far, what AMIs have been used. I think we need to get DCP to come back in to give us their ideas, and some of the nonprofits to come in and give us their ideas as to what AMIs we do need, what is it that we do need, and then we, as a community board, have to come to a decision. You're right. We do need all these different. We need more than just one level of AMI. We want, I think, to have a diverse community so that it's a well-balanced community. And as far as making demands on developers goes, again, we can discuss that further, but we have found that the developers have been willing to say, okay, we'll take some responsibility for, let's say, maintaining the greenery or giving some monies to the park that's nearby that we're going to be. So I think
that's smaller money, but you're talking, you know, go to 50% low income. I mean, what is that going to do to what it will end up? Yes, even if, you know, even if they give it to it, yes, what will happen is there'll be only luxury, high-end luxury, and no middle income and moderate income housing, and that is a disaster. That's going to be a disaster.
Okay, well, that's part of this discussion. That's the strategy that we are talking about. We need to have a strategy. We've asked for 35%. Do we try to, do we then demand higher? Is that going to be productive, or is that going to do what you say, which is to get the developers to walk away and say, forget it, we'll just do as of right and we'll do all luxury, although there is mandatory affordable housing at this point.
That's what I'm saying. Affordable housing will still be.
Discussion. You're right, but I think this is the discussion. We need to have a discussion about strategy, find out what other community boards have done. Have they had any success with getting more affordability? And by the way, affordability doesn't necessarily mean just low income, because that's the other part of the discussion. Don't we also need middle income? Do we only want just the lowest? Do we also need for, you know, people who can't afford who make too much for the lowest AMI, but who cannot afford market rate? And this is a bigger picture that I think we have to talk about.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we better get on, because I don't know if we have more votes to deal with. That's the end of my report, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that this discussion will go to your committee for further discussion.
Absolutely.
Veterans Affairs as written, environmental protection, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll go really fast. We've one really important voting item. Office of Technology and Innovation came in with about installing Link 5G transmitters in our district. They've been rolling them out through the city. You know, they're through a franchisee named CityBridge, who's been rolling out all the 4G units, where those digital kiosks that you see all over that have, you know, you can make 311 calls, 911 calls, you can charge your device, and free Wi-Fi all around. And so they're doing these 5G units, which will be installed on a 32-foot tall metal tower. And there are 6 locations in our district. 5 of them are along various points on Kent Avenue, either in or off, off that avenue, and one at the corner of Bedford and Manhattan Avenue. And then additionally, those 6, they install units on top of a lamppost that handles fewer carriers, 2 versus 5 for the poles. But they're contacting us because it's going to be on Lorimer Street between Shoals and Siegel, and the pole is less than 10 feet from the building, so they're notifying us. So they basically just talked about this rollout, basically saying it's safe. But we also invited the heads of 2 nonprofits who are advocates for safe technology and questioning what's being put out there. Theodora Scarota, who is from Environmental Health Trust, and Odette Wilkins from Wireless Broadband. And they both really question the science, huge concerns about safety, even though OTI defers to the Federal Communications Commission, who defers to the FDA, and there's a link to a study that basically says it's all safe, but if you look at the last summary point, it says basically, but we cannot rule out that there is some potential hazard from these towers that are emitting 5G signals. So committee members, board members, a lot of people in the community, some not from the community, who've been hearing these these discussions at other community boards, just really don't trust the science here, or they're seeing their science that's questioning this. So that's in a nutshell, we really just supposed to respond to the locations, but we want to respond to the safety as well. There are 2 that are located on 9th and 10th Streets on the south side on Kent. We said, why are those 2 close together? But mainly we question this. We want more science to give us, the full confidence that this technology is okay, especially if it's going to be located right outside someone's apartment window. If you look at the report, there's an image in Chinatown of one of these, or if you just Google Link 5G, you can see pictures of them. They're quite striking, to say the least. So basically the motion for a comment is to let me just get to it real quick. Is to regarding the 5G transmitter poles, the 6 of them, the 1 transmitter cap located in Brooklyn Community Board 1 that is less than 10 feet from a building, we do not sanction the installation of these Link 5G units before more extensive research is performed and made available to the public on the potential health risks of this technology, and disapproves installing new Link 5G transmitter poles solely in locations along the wealthy waterfront district rather than a broader range of locations throughout Brooklyn Community District 1. Because they're all along the waterfront, where there's all these these market rate towers and apartment buildings, and there's old infrastructure in the rest of the district. So we're saying the things are installed, we want some equity there. But again, I urge people to look at the report, look at the links, look at the studies, just to see for yourself. Some very troubling reports there. But I need a motion to to approve this comment.
I second the motion, Steve.
Wait, who made the first motion?
I'll make the first motion and Sante can second.
Trina and Sante. So the motion.
Shelley, roll call vote, please.
So the motion is to
submit a comment to Office of Technology Innovation, basically not sanctioning installation of these 5G poles in our district until more research is done to.
So fast.
Do we do can we have a conversation before we do a motion, or are there any questions?
We're gonna lose the people. I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I mean, it doesn't look good. I keep looking at the people and we're losing them. I don't know what you guys want to do.
How can you install such poles in a heavy populated area without real proof that it's not dangerous? I think I'd never vote for such a thing. To put our next generation, our young children into such a hazard. If we need a lot of proof that this is, and maybe, who knows, the people that say it's not dangerous, maybe they were bought off by these big companies just to come forward. We need solid proof that this is safe. I mean, it's our children.
Yep. Well, just know that OTI, the city agency, defers to the federal government. The federal government is controlling the safety and a lot of rules related to this technology. So,
We need
but
to
it's
come
just
up with a lot of literature
Yep.
to show it's okay. But it's very frightening because sometimes these big companies they come in just like tigers. Before you move around, they are here and they did their stuff already, and then we.
Okay, Bella. Okay, Bella. We don't want to lose our quorum. We got to get this vote in.
Ready? Gina Argento. Martin Bakowski.
Yes.
Lisa Belmonte.
Yes.
Gina Barrows. Eric Brusitis.
Yes.
Iris Cabrera. Phil Caponegro. Frank Cabone. Frank?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
Steve Chesler.
Yes.
Michael Chinchilla. Teresa Sincado. Stephanie Cuevas. Juan and Daly.
Yes.
Giovanni D'Amato.
Yes.
Aaron Drinkwater. Arthur Dibonowski. Lloyd Fang.
Yes.
Julia Amanda Foster. Crystal Garcia.
Yes.
Joe Goldstein.
Yes.
Joe Gross. David Helmick. Sabrina Help. Katie Denny Horowitz.
No.
Sonia Iglesias. Yes. Motion's ending. Robert Jeffrey.
Yes.
Monsina Kaminsky.
Yes.
Corey Canton.
Yes.
Paul Kilterborn.
Yes.
William Glasgow. Mr. William. Yolando. Marie Liaison.
Yes.
Yolo. Trina McKeever.
Yes.
Adam Myers.
Abstain.
Dante Marcelli.
Yes.
Toby Moskowitz. Rabbi David Niederman.
Stain.
Karen Nieves. Mary Domerick.
Yes.
Jan Peterson. Bella Sables. Bella.
Stain.
Isaac Sofer. Deltine.
Yes.
William Vega.
Yes.
Maria Viera.
Yes, so
Simon Weiser.
same time, right?
$20 yes, 1 no, 3 abstention. Motion carries.
Well, we have just 25.
It failed, it's only have 24. You're right. There was 20 yes, 1 no, and 3 abstention, which we don't have the quorum.
Well, what about the chair?
There's no tie vote. I made a break.
But the chair makes it a quorum at 25, right? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
So yeah, so it does, motion carries. Because she makes it she makes the quorum.
Okay, we can't
Yes,
afford to
that's
lose
right.
not one person.
Okay, so that motion carries.
Okay, I'll read the report for old business and new business. I'll just mention the former Speedway Station, 210 Greenpoint Avenue, We're worried about whether the fire trucks can make the turn. Joanna's been amazingly persistent in going after them. They're going to submit a report about a lot of traffic problems relate to street diets, including that one. So stay tuned for that. And North Brooklyn Parks and El Puente at a future meeting, we're going to talk about air monitoring. But you can read the rest of the report. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Steve. I would like for people to start getting their reports into the office sooner because it's causing too many headaches. The reports are coming in 2 days before the meeting and it's overwhelming and people don't have time to read them. That's why we're doing a lot of stuff here that people don't understand. So I would like for everybody to try to get their reports into the office at least 2 to 3 days after their meeting. Because we have people that have a report at the end, have a meeting at the beginning of the month, report comes in 2 days for the meeting. This is just becoming overwhelming. When you have your meeting, please try to get your reports into the office no later than 2 to 3 days. So Joanna will have time to type them, get them out there, and people will have time to read them. There's no time to type them. There's no time to read them. So we
Also, sorry, Madam Chair, thank you. And also to review, because getting these motions and written and getting the vote, it's really, really long motions and resolution, and I'll miss something and people will come at me, but it is overwhelming, guys, really is. The motions, the resolutions, it's even taking the minutes. Remember, it's not a book, it's minutes. It's not a chapter, it's just minutes. Hit to the point because it is overwhelming.
Yes, because Sonia got, she's doing this and we're all doing stuff that we're not used to doing, and we are overwhelmed with meetings, and we're just overwhelmed, period. So I would like, that's what I meant before when I said that we had to do more. And this is what we have to do. We have to do better at getting stuff in this office. And I would encourage members, if they see a report and there's something in it that they don't understand, please call the chairperson or call somebody on that committee to try to get clarification. And that will be very helpful for us for this meeting. There's no reason for us to come into all these meetings and not understand any of these reports. It's getting to the point where it just don't make no sense. And I just don't have the bandwidth for it, I don't have the bandwidth for it. We're getting our reports in too late. Yes, Bella.
Talking to me? Oh, yes. Hi, I'd like to make a comment about the women swimmers, and I thought I'll be able to do it earlier. It would take 1 minute. In short, the Friday hours were taken away from us, and we are asking for a meeting to meet with the Parks Department, the CCHR, and the politicians, Mr. Lincoln Ressler and Jennifer and Mr. Antonio Reynoso, Jennifer Gutierrez, yes, and Antonio Reynoso, and even, who knows, even maybe the mayor. We need the hours back. Our population is getting older. The women need to swim, and it's really a sort of a disgrace that we have to fight for such a thing for such a long time. Please,
Bella, work with Phil with the Parks Department and try to call a meeting up with the Women's Committee, Parks Department or the Women's Committee. Try to work with them to accomplish this meeting.
We are trying, but it's just taking too long and we don't accomplish. Everybody is pointing, all the agencies are pointing fingers at each other, and nobody is guilty, but somehow there is a hindrance, and we cannot just something doesn't look okay. We want a meeting as soon as possible with the agencies involved.
Well, what we have to realize today is that the all city agencies are down with staff. I understand the city agents are down 2,500 people. Now they're offering more incentive by raising the salaries to get people to work. It is hard. That's why I'm trying to get people to get their reports in, ask for their information, because it's hard to access information because the city agencies do not have the staff to accommodate us when we need it at the last minute. Okay, Parks minute as read. announcement, elected officials. Bruno, you still have something you have to say? I guess he left. Lincoln spoke. Lugo, do you have something you need to say? Are you still here? Lugo? Gonzalez. Evelyn Cruz, Nydia Velasquez, Congressman Nydia Velasquez office. Evelyn?
Good evening, everyone. What a robust meeting it has been. I'm impressed. Well, I want to thank you all on behalf of the Congresswoman for your public service. I'm trying to get off camera. The WebEx has been really misbehaving tonight. Here I am, there I am, there I am. So I just want to quickly share, Madam Chair, thank you again for your service. We're celebrating Women's History Month. You, Jan, and many on the board are the reason why we need to celebrate this historic month for women. It's important for others to follow footsteps. I just want to share a few things. One of them being that the Congresswoman was pretty busy this past week. She introduced her Landlord Accountability Act for 2023. It's a bill to amend the Fair Housing Act to prohibit discrimination based on the use of Section 8 vouchers and other incomes. The other piece is this past Saturday, we held a press conference on the recent lithium-ion battery fires. We've experienced a few in our part of our district. On Valentine's Day, there was a fire in Bushwick. One of the tenants, 67-year-old, passed away. It caused 2 buildings to go on fire. The Congresswoman has introduced the legislation to direct the U.S. Department of Transportation to create grants for local governments to install publicly accessible safety charging and storage stations for e-bikes, scooters, and other mobile devices. In addition, she wrote to the mayor and also to the United States Consumer Product Safety Commission, the Office of Import Surveillance, to work closely with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection to identify and examine imported shipments of such consumer products. These fires are mostly in neighborhoods with high densities, with a lot of delivery workers. The delivery workers, the property owners, and their families are placed at risk, and it's something that we are all concerned about. Next, Medicare Advantage. Congresswoman Velasquez joined Congressmember DeLauro, Japal, Shosky, leading an effort to reform Medicare Advantage. Unlike Medicare, Medicare Advantage plans are administered by private insurers, and in the recent years, we have found them to be fraught with waste, fraud, and abuse. Although when they were first initiated, they were designed to reduce Medicare spending, but that has not been the case. The Congresswoman believes that Medicare is foundational piece of the U.S. healthcare system, and it must be protected. We've encountered that a lot of retirees, folks that are disabled, have experienced delays in service, higher rates in their premiums, and other issues with delivery of service. And this is something that we're going after. The next bill, the Congresswoman has issued a letter to the Drug Enforcement Agent to act on mitigating the need for ADHD medication. We know that there's a shortage. We have received numerous calls from Greenpoint, from Brooklyn, concerning this issue. The Congresswoman has written to the DEA and urging them to alleviate the nationwide shortage of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder medication. The reason we're contacting the DEA is because medication like Concertia and others are considered controlled substance. So this is a matter that the Congresswoman has pursued. We've had a town hall in Sunnyside, Queens, where we reached out to Greenpoint and Queens as part of our new district. We also had a town hall, as Lincoln Councilman Ressler mentioned earlier, with the Army Corps of Engineers. We worked together on that. The Congresswoman has been monitoring the BQE. We have been working, and representing the BQE in South Brooklyn as in North Brooklyn for decades. We will continue to advocate for fair access to transportation services and a project that will benefit all communities. The other piece is that the Congresswoman presented a $2 million check to Wyckoff Hospital to expand their colorectal cancer unit. This is part of our community funding project of last year. We are also just launched the community funding projects for fiscal year 2024. This is the earmark or community project funding process that will enable community-based organizations, CBOs, to pursue federal fundings that the Congresswoman can secure. Access to that information is on our website, and the deadline is very short, as the leadership, the McCarthy Party, has really truncated the time process. So we're encouraging all community-based organizations to go on our website and see what the requirements and guidelines are for funding. Next week, we will be introducing $1 million to the North Brooklyn Anti-Violence Initiative, which is made up of St. Nick's, the WIC, and Riseboro. And this is an initiative to help curtail violence in our district. So we'll be working with them in the months to come. We'll also be presenting Woodhull Hospital with a $2 million check for services that are much needed at the hospital, and the Congresswoman was able to secure money for that. And the other piece was, the e-bike letter that I think I mentioned, right? I think that's it. I think that is it. E-bike, we have a bill on e-bike. We did the bill on, yes, we did. I'm sorry. I'm just tired. I apologize. It's so late. I commend you all for being still here. But that is it. That is the end of my report. Any questions?
Thank you, Evelyn.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller.
Have a
Good night,
weekend.
everyone.
Good night.
Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
I just have one thing. I have one thing to say, Dell. I just want to thank Joanna for all of her help. I actually don't know how one human being can do everything she's done, but no, there's no question that's too crazy that she doesn't answer. She answers. I have questions. She gets the answers. She's been very helpful in helping me to get in touch with and communicate with any agency that I needed to get in touch with. And I just want to thank Joanna. I want to thank you, Joanna. And I
Thank you,
understand.
Joanna.
I don't know how
Yeah.
you do it. I just don't understand.
Thank
But
you.
Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
Oh, no, yeah,
Madam
yeah.
Chair?
Yes.
Thank
Gracias.
you.
Madam
Gracias.
Chair, this
You're
is Sonia.
welcome.
I just wanted to, I spoke earlier with Marie Liaison regarding Teresa Trish. She's not doing very well. I've heard she's been ill. So I wanted everybody to keep us in the prayers, think about her, because she has not doing well health-wise. So I know Marie's there, but we were told she was in the hospital.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Leanza. Is there anything else? Motion to adjourn.
Sorry, this is Lloyd. Really quickly, I just wanted to flag the deadline to submit redistricting testimony for the New York State Assembly lines. I'm not sure if you all discussed this last month because I think I missed the last meeting, but the lines for Williamsburg and Greenpoint look really bad. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. I know William Vega testified previously along with some other folks here, but if there is time to get more testimony, I would encourage you to do that. Thanks.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Motion to adjourn.
Sonia.
Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you for everything.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Lady
Good
Jess.
night.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Joanna.
Good night.
Be
Thank
blessed.
you.
Good night.
Bye.